So my name is Yogesh Kottavar. I'm your faculty for Ethics and Essay. And what we'll be doing is, we'll start with ethics first. We'll cover the complete ethics, including theory as well as case studies. And after that, we'll start with the essay part. Okay. Now, in case anyone has any doubt, I request to ask questions in the comment box. In case you feel that I'm going a bit faster, please let me know. Okay. Now, be interactive in this session. I should know that I'm teaching someone. Okay. So first of all, ethics as a subject, GS4 carries total 250 marks. But whatever you're studying in this particular paper, the content, the theory part, the theoretical frameworks that you will study, many examples which you are going to get from this ethics subject, all this is going to be helpful for you in your essay paper. That's why I say ethics is of 250 marks, but in the essay paper, especially nowadays, philosophical essays are becoming very common. And if you see the syllabus of ethics, we have moral thinkers and philosophers. There we are going to deal with some Western philosophers, some Indian philosophers. So you'll get a bit good idea about philosophy. So in case there is any question where you need to go on looking at the philosophical dimension, or let's say there's a quote given and you have to write down. In that case, this GS4 paper will be very much helpful for you. Okay, so 250 marks of essay. I'm not sure whether one essay will be there from philosophical section or two. We don't know. And then in your personality test, I've personally observed those students who have studied ethics really well. They perform better in the personality test, better as compared to other students, because when they have to give their opinion, let's say on a particular case study, or let's say on a particular event that is happening, it's in news. So they give better answers because of the ethical framework that has got developed. So please look at ethics paper as combining all these sections. Okay. So moving ahead, briefly we'll look at the syllabus of ethics. UPSC has given the syllabus. And the major topics are: first, ethics and human interface; second, attitude; then third is aptitude and foundational values; fourth, emotional intelligence. Then we have the fifth topic, philosophers, where we are studying these moral thinkers and philosophers. Sixth, ethics in public administration. Next, probity in governance, and last is case studies. See, whatever you're going to study, the theoretical part, that you're going to apply in the case studies. Now, instead of looking at syllabus this way, I look at syllabus in this manner. So, the syllabus of ethics, integrity and aptitude, actually it's a mix-up of multiple subjects. So, for example, we have one subject called psychology. And if you see these three topics, such as aptitude, attitude and emotional intelligence, these are taken from psychology. There is a branch of psychology named as social psychology. From there, we have taken these topics. We means UPSC has taken, right? Then another subject we have, that is philosophy. So philosophy is a different discipline altogether. And here we have taken this philosophers, moral thinkers and philosophers part from philosophy. Then we have this subject called sociology. So if you look at this first topic in the syllabus, ethics and human interface, here we are reading about human values. Here we are reading about the family, society and educational institutions' role in building our value system. So all this part, it is coming from your sociology section. Okay. And the last one is your public administration. This is a different discipline altogether. And this civil service values, administrative ethics, probity in governance, all these topics are coming from public administration. So one thing is clear. The subject that we are studying is a mix-up of multiple subjects. So your thought process has to be developed in the same manner, wherein you can have diverse understanding. Okay. Now, why such diverse understanding is required? Because UPSC doesn't expect you to just study the theoretical portion of ethics, but also to apply the knowledge whatever theoretically you have studied, you should be in a position to apply it in the real world condition. Okay, considering all this dimension, they have brought this syllabus. Okay, clarity on the syllabus part. Now, what about the questions? Now, ethics paper is something which most of the students say, those who have given their mains. They say that, sir, it's a very lengthy paper. It's very difficult to write answers in ethics paper or complete the entire paper, right? Now, you see, there are two kinds of questions. One is this theoretical portion, theory questions, direct theory questions will be there, or some other kind of theory questions which we call as quote-based questions. I'll show you. So, this is one question. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead of against you. Do you agree with this view? Discuss for 10 marks. Now, initially in your paper, the first 13 questions will be the theoretical questions. It may include questions like this. These are direct theory questions. They have asked about emotional intelligence directly, and then they asked about your perspective on that. The second kind of questions would be this quote-based questions. So there's a person called Socrates. We'll study about Socrates in Moral Thinkers and Philosophers. Socrates says, an unexamined life is not worth living. An unexamined life is not worth living. And they said nothing about it now. So just like your essay paper, where they give you a quote and they expect you to write whatever you wish to write. So similarly, there will be at least 3 questions or 3 quotes given in the paper where you have to explore that particular quote. Or we can say you're writing a small essay of 2 pages over here. Okay, so 2 kinds of theoretical questions. Then one kind of question would be your case studies. So after 13 questions, then you will see case studies. Now an entire scenario will be provided to you. That let's say you are a civil servant and something is happening in your district. Entire situation will be given, and after that situation, they're going to provide you some questions. At the end, they may say, tell me what are the ethical issues involved in this particular case? What kind of course of action you are going to take? What will you do in this particular situation? How you are going to take this decision? Such practical questions are given over here. Okay. So we understand from the syllabus, we need to have really good knowledge of theory. We need to have really good understanding of theory, which leads to the philosophical section. And then we should be in a position to apply that knowledge in the real life condition, assuming that we are the civil servants. Okay. Now, as far as the scoring part is concerned, now, because we are preparing directly for the mains, we expect to score really well in the ethics paper. If you compare ethics paper with that of any other paper of GS 1, 2, 3 and compare it with GS 4, one thing that is good about GS 4 is you can score really high. You can create that gap with other students. In GS 1, 2, 3, hardly you can score somewhere in the range of 110, 120. Going beyond 120 is very, very difficult. Although you can do that, but it's tough. In case of ethics, it's not that tough. Going beyond 120, even going beyond 130, that is possible. Okay. So for that, first thing that is needed is depth of understanding. Whatever keywords that are present in ethics, whatever theoretical frameworks are there, whatever I'm teaching, if you conceptually understand and you have got that depth of understanding, it's not like just reading on the superficial level and just mugging up the definitions, that is not going to work. There will be some questions which will be, first of all, analytical, or which may expect you to apply the knowledge which you already have, or these quotes. For example, when we look at this quote like unexamined life is not worth living. Now here, the examiner expects your depth. How can you look at this quote? Can you relate it with your life or not? How do you look at this? How do you interpret it? So for that, depth matters. So I suggest focus on understanding concepts. This is a subject of concepts, nothing to mug up. At max, what you are going to mug up is some kind of examples, is something you need to mug up. So for example, in your syllabus, you have something called empathy, or you have compassion, you have other values, any keyword, any word that is coming up. For that word, you should have some examples ready with you. 2 examples, 3 examples at least. So when you're making notes after the lectures, try to make 1-pager notes where you just mention that particular keyword, you write the definition of it, and then mention 2 to 3 examples. Just make this short list, and before your mains, try to revise that. See, you are not going to get enough time to revise also, because on Friday you will have essay paper, on Saturday you will have GS 1-2, on Sunday you will have GS 3, GS 4. So hardly there will be time to revise the stuff, and you will not even have enough energy to revise, because continuously you will be writing papers. Okay, so considering that, try to make very, very short and very crisp notes full of examples and just value addition content. Okay, I'll tell you that part also. Then, how people score really high is with the help of their articulation skill, or simply I can say the writing skill. The way you write, the same stuff. If you're writing in a bookish manner, the way you write in GS 1, 2, 3, more or less we go for bookish definitions. In an ethics paper, we expect you to write not in a bookish manner, rather in a more human manner. So the same definition, if you can write in your own words, put your emotions into it, then you're going to score really high. Okay, and to bring this part, you should have the depth. You should have the clarity, you should have the depth. Then slowly those thoughts will come on the paper. Obviously, you will have to write a lot. Focus on this output part. Whatever you studied, you have to keep on writing, then that articulation skill you're going to get. Okay, now simply look at the questions that have been asked from the theoretical portion. Case study part will deal later on. So from the theoretical portion, you can see this ethics and human interface. 4 questions in 2013, 7 in 2014, 4 here, 4, 3, 2, 1. Aptitude part 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. Likewise, you can go through the entire slide. Just look at the slide. I'll give you 1 minute. Although this is good for analytical understanding or understanding the trend and all, but I find there is no such trend as such, because they keep on changing the stuff. Okay, obviously they'll ask more questions on this part. They'll ask substantial questions from emotional intelligence part, from the moral philosophers part, because anyway 3 quotes they are asking anyway. So from that we understand overall you have to prepare all the topics. There is no option. Okay, so we'll prepare all the topics. Now I assume you people have not studied ethics till now, so I'll start from the basics, and we'll take care of that value addition part. We'll take care of that advanced stuff which is needed for writing in the examination. Okay, now first of all, what is ethics? That's the basic stuff we need to know. Now basically people say, or people think that ethics means what is right and what is wrong. If we are doing something right, a right action, then that is an ethical action. So you're an ethical person. And if you're not doing right thing, if you're doing something wrong, that's an unethical stuff. Now this is the basic understanding, and that's okay. I'm not saying this definition or this thought is wrong. It's absolutely right. But when we are studying ethics as a discipline, we look at its academic meaning. We try to understand the meaning in detail. Now, when we look at the syllabus given by UPSC, I get 2 kinds of meanings of ethics from that particular syllabus. Now, one meaning comes from the subject called philosophy. Philosophy, we all know, it's an important discipline. Rather, it is being said that most of our subjects, or almost all of our subjects, are derived from the subject called philosophy. Now, when we look at the subject philosophy, there are 3 major streams which come from philosophy. One is epistemology. Second is metaphysics. And third is ethics. Okay. Now, although you don't need to have any knowledge of epistemology or metaphysics, but basically if you want to just understand, here the people try to differentiate between knowledge and belief. Let's say if you're looking at this board, you may say, sir, this is white color. But it's not necessary that it is white color. Maybe you are colorblind. If we check from animals' perspective, it's not looking white. They can see it as a different color altogether. Maybe we do not have the eyesight which is required to see the right color. Maybe because of the visible light we are observing it as white. So when we say it is white, it's not our knowledge, rather our belief to some extent. So epistemology will go into the depth of understanding what is knowledge, what is belief. They'll try to check the source of that knowledge and all. The second subject is metaphysics. Physics going beyond physics. Meta means going beyond. So this is the physical world. When you study physics, you're studying about this world, this earth or whatever objects we have over here. We have rocks, we have, whatever you can touch, the tangible stuffs, that will be studied by physics. And when you go beyond physics, then you're entering into metaphysics. So you talk about God, you talk about Atma, soul, you talk about universe, Brahmand. So here you are entering into the domain of metaphysics. Now mostly what people do, whenever they come to know that someone is studying philosophy or someone is a philosopher, they think that he's studying this metaphysics. He's talking about those God, soul, all those things. But it is just one branch of philosophy. Okay. Now comes the third branch of philosophy, that is ethics, and this is important for us. Now this branch of philosophy called ethics, what it exactly does? It is going to tell you what is exactly right and what is exactly wrong. Now you may say, sir, we know what is right, we know what is wrong. It's not that easy to tell what is right and what is wrong. For example, let's say you are here, or let's say you reach to Labasna. After that you meet one lady and you get into a love affair. Now you are coming from Bangalore, or let's say you are coming from Karnataka, and this lady is coming from, let's say, Ladakh or Arunachal Pradesh. Good combination, one from Karnataka, one from Arunachal Pradesh. And now you reach to your family saying that I want to marry this lady. Now here you are in the situation wherein you love this person and you have also made many promises to this person, saying that I'm going to stay with you forever. Now on the other hand, when you reach to home, your family members are not ready with it. They are saying, no, this is not allowed. Why this is not allowed? Their culture is different. We are very different. We can't match. So your family members are not ready. And now you are in a situation wherein you have to take a decision whether you will go with this lady or you will go with your family. So your family members say that either she will live here or you will live here. Now at this position, what kind of decision you are going to take? See, for people, family values are important, family is important, but their loved one, their choice, their freedom of choice, that also matters. Now this is the case of dilemma wherein it's very difficult to tell what is right and what is wrong. It's very difficult. Some people will go with the first choice, some will go with the second choice. Neither I can call someone as wrong completely, nor I can call someone as completely right as such. Okay. So this is the domain of being right or being wrong. Okay. So telling what is right and wrong is not that easy stuff. And the branch of philosophy called ethics deals with that aspect. And how it deals with that aspect? Here, ethics tells you what is the purpose of your life and the means to achieve that particular purpose. What do I mean by that? See, simply, ethics will ask, what is the purpose of your life? If I ask you people, what is the purpose of your life? Some may say, sir, I want to become an IAS officer or IPS officer. So let's say, now I won't agree with this aspect that you want to become IPS officer. This is your purpose. Maybe by becoming IPS, you're going to get something, and that is your purpose. Let's say you're going to get power, you're going to get some kind of happiness, you're going to get prestige in the society. Some people may want some kind of money, or let's say you want to settle some scores with some people. Okay, you have that ego clash with some people, your relatives or someone. You want to settle that score. Anything. Any of these could be the real purpose, real reason behind you getting into this part, or you preparing for the examination. Okay. Now I'll assume your purpose is to get power. Okay. I assume that your purpose is to get power. Now you can get power through one way, that is by becoming this IPS officer, or let's say you can even become a politician, although that's a very tough thing as compared to the civil service examination. So you can become powerful by becoming this IPS officer. But there is other way. You can become a gangster. This person is also very powerful. IPS has got 1 gun. This person has got 50 guns. Right? There are no rules also. So the same person who has got one purpose can achieve that purpose with different methods or with different means. One way is to crack this examination rightly and become an IPS officer, or you can use another means is by cheating. So nowadays we are getting many examples, right? This case of Pooja Khedkar. So you give wrong documentation, you do some kind of cheating in the examination, and through that you reach to this particular place. Or you go for a different method altogether, different means altogether to grab that power. Now here comes the role of ethics. What ethics will do? First of all, it is going to tell you your purpose of life. This is first thing. And once you get to know your purpose of life, then it will tell you the right means to achieve it. So here it is actually differentiating between what is right and what is wrong. Okay. It is differentiating. It will clearly tell you that this is the right path through which you can achieve your purpose. Okay. And as far as this purpose part is concerned, it's not like only getting power is your purpose. Some people will say being happy in life, that is the purpose of life. By becoming powerful, see, by becoming an IAS or IPS officer, you become powerful, right? But by becoming powerful, by using that power, by doing some kind of action using that power, you gain happiness. So some people will say the ultimate purpose of life is to gain happiness. And the right way to get this happiness is through the right means. Let's say even if you become an officer by cheating or by doing some kind of wrong stuff, some or the other day, you will be caught and then everything will be lost in just 1 minute. Or second thing would be, you have cheated, you know that thing. Nobody knows, okay. But you will be under pressure continuously. Even if you are in the service, every day you will have that thought that someday if somebody knows that I had cheated, somebody finds that document, then everything will be lost. So there won't be any peace of mind for you. There won't be any peace of mind. So here please understand why ethics is telling you the right means to achieve it, because it knows that to achieve this final purpose, you have to go through this path, which is the right path. If you follow the right process, you crack the exam, then you are into service, there is no headache. There is no pressure on mind after that. You will be happy. So this is how the branch of philosophy that is called ethics deals with purpose of life and the means to achieve it. And this is just one meaning of ethics. Now, this is the part that we will be dealing with, especially in that philosophy section. When we study philosophy part, there more or less we'll be dealing with this meaning of ethics. Okay. Now there is another meaning number 2. Now most of your syllabus, when I look at most of your syllabus, that part talks about this second meaning. The second meaning of ethics comes as a social system. Now to understand this part, I have to describe you about one theory that is talking about the psyche of human being. So there's a concept called ego, superego, and id. Okay, this is just for the reference so that you understand this concept well. You don't need to write down this stuff as such. Okay, now look at this one thing. Look at human beings, look at other animals. You will observe that there are some basic instincts in human beings as well as animals. Some basic instincts. Let's say animals are getting urge to sleep, so they'll sleep. We also get this urge to sleep. Then animals get urge to eat, so they'll go and kill anyone and just eat. We also get that urge to eat something. Or for example, some kind of sexual urge. Animals get that sexual urge and they go for that action. We humans also get that sexual urge. But there is one difference. When humans are getting this basic instinct, which is naturally coming from within, it's natural. This natural basic instinct is called as id, and it is very much different when it comes to human beings, wherein we try to suppress that instinct. Okay, if that instinct is coming, it's not like you're sitting here, suddenly you got that instinct and you do the same act which an animal is doing. You don't do it. Why you don't do it? Because since childhood, you're taught that you're not supposed to do this thing. So here, we are saying this instinct is very natural thing that is present in other animals also, in human beings also. But because human beings want to build a society, then build a civilization, to bring some order in the society, what they do is they try to suppress your instinct or id part, and they try to develop your moral part that we call as superego. So since childhood, you are told that you're not supposed to slap anyone in front of you. You're not supposed to snatch anything from someone and eat it. You're not supposed to kill anyone. Since childhood, you're being continuously taught the basic rules, the basic norms, and the basic principles through which in our human society works. And that's what I'm calling as the moral part of your brain or your personality. All these are parts of your brain. But here I'm saying one is naturally coming and the other one is something we have artificially added in ourselves through our culture, through our upbringing. Since childhood, we are taught some norms, or what we can call as rules, that these are the rules which you have to follow. Otherwise, you will not be part of this society. And some kind of values. So even if a person is getting sexual urge, he's not going to go ahead with that act with just anyone. That will be considered as rape, and you will be punished by the society, punished by the state as well as punished by the society. So that is not allowed. Animals can do that because of their id or instinct. But the superego in us will tell us that you should not do this. So if you have ever seen in any movies, one black person sitting here, one white person sitting here, black one says do this, white one says don't do this. Something similar happens in us. So one part of our brain is telling us to do this particular thing. Other part of our brain says don't do this thing, do the other thing. That's how the struggle between id and superego is continuously going. It's continuously going on. How this superego developed in us? Since childhood, we have gone through a process called as socialization. Now please understand, I've talked about all these things so that you understand the process of socialization. Okay? Since childhood, you are going through a process called as socialization. So when you were born, you were a child, and this young child was exactly similar to an animal. Just like an animal goes with his basic instincts or id, similarly this child will be doing. So he is feeling hungry, he is going to eat whatever is on the table. So he will go ahead with the id. Now comes the role of family, society, relatives, everyone who are going to teach this particular child to curb this id and start developing this superego. Right? When you start developing this superego, for that you start giving some lessons to this child. What you do is you teach this particular child some rules, some norms, some values. This process through which you are actually giving values, putting values in that person, that process is socialization. You are making this new child part of the society by teaching this child the rules through which the society works, the principles through which the society works, the principles that are important in the society. All this is taught by society, and this is socialization. This is the process of socialization. Now understand why society is doing this thing. Why our family, society, all the members of society is going for this process of socialization. Because we want to maintain this society. We know that if we also start behaving the way animals are doing, we'll not be able to form the kind of society we have. Our society will not exist. Let's say in the classroom, one person wants to just wants to kill someone and is killing. Then nobody will come to class. Nobody will try to have any interaction with the other person. This society will completely collapse. So, for bringing some order in the society, for bringing some kind of social order in the society, what society will do? They are going to put some moral values and some norms of conduct. Norms means some rules. How you are supposed to behave. What should be your conduct? Those rules will be taught to you. Those will be added in you. And when they are added, what will happen? In this society, we will have order. We will have order in the society. So one thing we can remember, if there is no ethics, if there are no values which are taught to us, our society will not exist at all. Our society just exists because we are taught these values and we have learned, we have imbibed these values within us. Now, parents do not need to tell you everything. You know on your own that you are not supposed to slap someone, you are not supposed to do this action. You know this. Your conscience will tell you that. Okay? So, now when we see the meaning of ethics, first meaning came from philosophy, second meaning as a social system, right? So here, ethics is going to tell you some rules, some laws, some norms which are acceptable to every member of the society. Society has made these rules, so every member of the society will have to accept it. So one basic example of this ethical rule is this golden rule given in the books of Christianity, like Bible. It says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Even if you don't understand this English, heavy English, in simple language, whatever you're doing with others, if they do the same with you, then you should be okay with it. If I kill someone, if some other person kills me, then I don't like it. I don't like it, so I should not do the same with any other person. But if I help someone is in need, suddenly you saw one kind of accident on the road. So you reached out to that person to help that person. Think about the same action if you are in the same situation And in that case, some other person is coming to help you. Will you like that action? Yes, you will like that action. You will find it the right action. So this golden rule given in Bible, it clearly says, do the same thing with others which you would expect others to do with you. And this is the core ethics. This is the core essence of ethics or core dimension of ethics. This is exactly what ethics is all about. Now this is given in Bible. The same stuff is given in Mahabharata. Atmani pratikulani paresham na samachari. Now why I am mentioning these stuffs is because when you are writing answers, try to make use of such stuffs. Something from Mahabharata, something from Bible. When you are using such stuffs, that adds value to your answer. It looks better. It looks better than others. Okay, so to score high, I suggest you to use such lines. Okay, so mostly on all the religious texts, most of the religious texts, you will find the basic ethics or basic ethical rule being established. Okay, is this clear? This is the most basic or most fundamental part. If you have understood, we'll move ahead. Now, when you are writing answers, I personally suggest you to write in a better way as compared to others. Now, although we have understood this definition, but if I ask you people to write down just right away, if I ask anyone to write, everyone is going to write in a different way. So you should prepare. I told you in the beginning, try to come up or try to make short notes wherein you at least mention the definition and few examples. And if definitions could be better than others, rather than being very bookish, if you can bring in some other element, some additional value added element, that will give you an edge to you over other students. So for example, if we are writing the definition of ethics, if somewhere they have directly asked a question, what is ethics? Explain us. There are questions. So what you can write, one way would be system of principles helping to distinguish between right and wrong. Now this is a very basic definition which you can write. Or you can use some other stuffs, right? It's a science of conduct, the way you're supposed to conduct. It's a science of conduct which is going to tell you the difference between rights and the right thing to do. Rights and the right thing to do. Now there's a previous year question where they have used the same line, that ethics tells you the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. Now see this, rights versus right to do. What is the difference? When I say rights, you can think about it in legal terms, what you are allowed to do. So in India, we have a democracy, we have a model which allows us to go for freedom of speech and expression. I have right to freedom of speech and expression. I can say whatever I want to. I can say it to whoever I want to, right? Now I'm speaking. That's my right. That's my right. Now comes the question, what is the right thing to do? Whether I should speak this thing or I should not. So there's a black person in front of me and I'm teasing this person, calling him black, you're black, you're black. Now legally, I'm not saying anything wrong as such. Calling a person that or describing a person that you are a black person, that might be a very normal statement to make, and we assume that law is not saying anything wrong about it because it's my right. But teasing someone or saying something that can hurt the other side, is it the right thing to do or it is not the right thing to do? This is where the differentiation is made by ethics. Ethics will very clearly tell you that no, this is not the right thing to do. Okay? So while writing answers, you can mention such stuff, a science of conduct which tells you difference between rights and right thing to do. Then this is also which you can use swabhav. So there is an idea called swabhav. Swabhav means your quality, your real quality, your intrinsic quality. When you look at any human being, there is one innate quality within us, within human beings, and that is what we call as the humanness, or which we use at, for the sake of humanity, do this thing. That humanness, when we say behave like a human being, What do we mean by that? We try to bring in this ethical dimension. When we say you're a human being, you have some special qualities which differentiate you from other beings. And that intrinsic humanness is what we call as swabhav. We say, behave according to your swabhav. Don't deviate from swabhav. So for example, there is a person who has become a bit selfish. We assume animals also behave in a selfish manner. He also behaves in a selfish manner. So just like animals, when they are hungry, they snatch food from anyone or they snatch anything available. They kill anyone and eat. Similarly, this person is also of the same kind. As soon as he is hungry, as soon as he gets any urge, he does what he wants to do. Now, in that case, what he is losing is his swabhav, is his humanness, intrinsic humanness. And now he is doing an action. On short term, this action will be beneficial. He will fill his stomach, okay. But after some time, some other person will come and kill this person. Swabhav says, do the action which is going to continue, which is not going to kill you on the spot right here. It is going to make you feel the real person. Second thing, it is possible this person may feel some kind of guilt. May feel, I'm not sure whether he'll feel or not, because for that he will have to think a little bit. So many people, after doing some kind of a wrong action, after some years, or for example, some people who are in relationship, they cheat for their pleasure, for a short-term pleasure, for a few minutes, they cheat with their partner. And after a few days or after that action has been done, later on, they have this guilt, they go through this remorse feeling. Now here we are saying, don't go against your swabhav. Your real swabhav would never have led you to go for that action. Do not deviate from your swabhav. Okay? So you can use this term also. And in the books, they mention this definition that ethics as a word comes from ethos, which means character, habit, culture, etc. This definition also given by Aristotle. You can write down directly that Aristotle in his book Nicomachean Ethics, he defines ethics as this. But this, I personally feel, this is very bookish language. Somewhere you can use, but try to use such easy statements but catchy, which look good. Okay. Any doubt till now? No? Now we are getting into the syllabus part. Although ethics, what is ethics is also a part of syllabus, obviously. Now when we understand what is ethics, now we should know what ethics is not. What is ethics? Now what ethics is not about. The first thing, ethics is not about your feelings or emotions. Some people say that what is right and what is wrong, when they have to decide, they just go for their gut feeling. Whatever feeling they are having, they say that this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. But your feelings or emotions cannot tell you what is rightly ethical or not. For example, let's say you have gone through some kind of accident, or you were observing, you were sitting on the road and suddenly one car came and hit a person. Salman Khan case, let's say. And you saw that incident. Now you can go to police station and report this incident, but you're not going. Why? Because of fear. Because of fear or because of some kind of emotion, you are not going and reporting this incident. So that means you can't rely on your feelings or on your emotions to understand what is ethics, because your emotions may sometimes stop you from doing the right action. That's possible. Or they may lead you to do some wrong action also. For example, is stealing ethical or unethical? We know it's unethical. But let's say you're hungry since last 2 days. Imagine a person who is hungry since last 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, is not eaten anything. Do you expect the same behavior from this person which you behave? You can't expect that. The psychological state in which this person is, you can't expect the same behavior which you show. In this case, there is a possibility that as soon as this person is looking at any food item, he's going to steal it, he's going to snatch it and eat it as soon as possible. Here comes the role of ethics, wherein whether this stealing as an action is right or wrong, it becomes a bit difficult. So we don't decide ethics on the basis of our emotions. Emotions or feelings, these are not going to tell you the real ethics. Okay? Then, what about religion? Because initially I talked about this Mahabharata, I talked about Bible and all. And most of the religious books, religious texts, or religious organizations, don't you think they try to make people a bit ethical? We are saying in ethics, don't lie, be honest, don't steal, don't do this wrong act. Religious texts also try to say the same things. They also say there should be peace in the world. You should not lie, you should not do any wrong action. So many times people, they confuse religious teachings or religious beliefs with that of ethics. Many times even people, when they are asked what is right and what is wrong, they don't use their rational mind. Rather, they use their religious belief and answer whether that thing is right or wrong. If their religion permits that thing, they'll say yes, it's good. If their religion bans it, says it is wrong, they'll say it is wrong. It's not coming from their mind, it's coming from religious belief. But when we say we are studying ethics, it is coming from your reasoning ability, your mind. We are thinking about it and then it is coming. There is some element of your feeling also that we'll discuss later on. But for now, it is not solely about religion or religious beliefs. So many people even say, sir, religious people are good people. See, don't think about when I say religious people, I'm not talking about communal people. Those who are trying to make some kind of politics out of religion, I'm not talking about them. When I say religious, just look at a really religious person who really believes in that religion, who acts according to that religious text. I'm talking about such a religious person. Mostly we observe such people are good. But is it necessary? It is not necessary. Mostly it is possible that religion is somehow trying to make people ethical. It is imbibing some values in you. But we have many examples wherein people are religious as well as they are doing some kind of wrong action. Sometimes just because of their religious belief also they do some wrong action. For example, you can mention any example, but this jihad, the word jihad which is being interpreted in a wrong manner, that is leading these people or many people to go for an action which is against the core value of ethics, that killing someone. So from this, one thing is clear, ethics is not about entirely your religion. And there are many people who are not even religious at all. They are atheist. And we have seen such people who are atheist as well as very ethical. Best example would be your Bhagat Singh. Okay, I'll give you two examples. Bhagat Singh from history and Mahatma Gandhi from history. Okay, contemporary examples. Here you have two individuals. One is an atheist, one is a very religious person. Okay, both are more or less, both of them are doing some ethical action. As far as the politics they are doing, that is also relatively very much ethical. They try to bring in some good things. So we can't say that only ethics is defined through religion. We can't say that thing. Then, is it about the law? See the difference between law. There is a difference between law and ethics. There is a possibility that sometimes law and ethics are going hand to hand. Both are on the same track. Ethics says don't kill anyone. Law also says don't kill anyone. But sometimes ethics and law will be contradictory. For example, this example of Gandhiji's Salt March. At that time, we had British government and the law said that there will be a tax on salt. What Gandhiji said? The ethics, my conscience says that this is wrong and that's why I am breaking this law. So here what Gandhiji did is something which is considered ethical, but something that is not considered legal. It's against the law. It's illegal. Okay. So we can't say law and ethics are same. We can't say that thing. Then social acceptability. Now there is a possibility we sometimes feel that something is acceptable in our society, so we start considering it as ethical. Right now, nowadays, Indian society, if you look at Indian society, nowadays intercaste marriages are becoming relatively common. Still not very common, but relatively I'm saying. But talk about interreligious marriage. Is it common? Is it acceptable to Indian society? No. If you talk about the same-sex marriage in India, no, not at all. Indian society more or less is not ready with it. You talk about this thing with your parents, they'll clearly say it's no. No, it's unethical, it's wrong. So what is acceptable by society cannot really define what is ethical. Otherwise, sati, the tradition of sati, would have been considered the most ethical system. But people said, or rather people like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, they came forward and they showed that even if sati is socially acceptable, it's the most unethical thing to do. So what is socially acceptable? That is not your ethics. Okay, there will be some things which will be acceptable to everyone. When we discussed the definition of ethics, we said that these are the rules, norms, principles which are acceptable to every member of the society. Right? But that doesn't mean everything that is acceptable to society is ethical. For example, adhering to this caste system or caste hierarchy, in India, it is very much acceptable. Very much acceptable. But we can't call it ethical system just because society accepts it. We can't call it. Then, it's not a pure science. It's not a pure science, or rather if we compare it with the mathematics. In maths, 1 plus 2 is 3. In India it is 3, in Europe it is 3, in America, in China, everywhere it is 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. In case of ethics, this is not the case. Ethics is a very subjective subject. And when I say subjective, the answers of different people could be different for the same situation. So when the case study is given or any question is being asked to you people, it's not necessary that everyone is going to give me the same answer. Your answers might differ. And even if the answers are differing, all these answers could be correct. For example, let's take the example of capital punishment. Capital punishment, you know, death sentence. Now, if I ask you, how many people support capital punishment and how many do not support capital punishment? Means, just put it in the comment box that it should be there or it should not be there. Yes or no? Please tell. So Nidhi says it should be there only for extreme and heinous cases. That is the rarest of the rare case you are saying. Okay, very good. Yeah, what others are saying? Democracy. Yeah, I'm asking about your opinion. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. It's your opinion. Anyway, in ethics, you will have to write your opinion. Okay, just write down. I support, I don't support. That whether it should be there or it should not be there. Darshan said not be there. Okay, Darshan doesn't even want it in extreme and heinous case. Chetan, we can't confirmly say depends on situation. That's what I'm asking. Consider all the situations. You are going to make the law. Now I'm asking whether it should be there or not. If in the rarest of the rare case you need it, mention that stuff. Sakshi says depends on nature of crime. Consider it as obviously, if you have stolen something, you have stolen this pen, we are not going to give you death sentence. Obviously, when you do some kind of harsh crime, heinous crime, in the modern societies, only for heinous crimes like rape, murder or this terrorist act, in such cases, we go for death sentence. So, some students, some are saying, sir, it should not be there at all, extreme. And some are saying, in the rarest of the rare case of the nature of the crime is very heinous, in that case, it should be given, otherwise it should not be given. There will be some people who will say that it should be given no matter what. Okay, obviously no one is going to say that even for small crimes give this death sentence. Nobody will say that. At least for now, at least in this modern society, people don't argue this. Like BNS, what? Like BNS. So when you have two sides, one says it should be there, and obviously in the rarest case, this is the even the stand of judiciary to some extent. Some will say it should not be there. This is the stand of some pacifist, some extreme pacifist. Means we can imagine, just for the sake of imagination, if I'm looking at Mahatma Gandhi, if I ask him, maybe he will say it should not be there. Or even there are some people who will say that it should not be there, and they have a case to make. What they say is, sir, you cannot give birth to a person. It's a natural thing. So you should not do something which is going against the nature. That's the reason you should not do this thing. Rather put him in jail. See, you have a society and you don't like a person's action. That's the reason you made a jail, so that this person is not interacting with this society, will not interact with this society. So put him in jail till the end. What's the problem? So they have one case to make, and some people are making this case that in the rarest of rare case, when we saw this Nirbhaya incident taking place, we saw 26/11 taking place, it is said that the collective conscience of the entire Indian society was hurt very badly. And in such situations, it becomes very mandatory on the judiciary side to give this person death sentence. This is the argument from judiciary. It's not like in every case we'll give this death sentence. Very rare. In very rare case, we give this death sentence. Now I'm saying, in your answers or when you're giving opinion to me, whether you're taking this side or this side, both are right and both are to some extent wrong when we think about it. In ethics, I'm trying to tell you 1 + 2 is not equal to 3 everywhere. This answer will also be considered as right. This answer will also be considered as right. This is the nature of ethics, that it is a very subjective subject. Clear? So there are no fixed formulas like the pure science in terms of ethics. And then it is not about your likes or dislikes. Some people like to do something. Some people like to bully. Some people like to take, go for that ragging in the colleges. Just because you like to do something, that doesn't make it ethical. Okay? So that's how we look at ethics. What ethics is not. Clear? Now, one more thing. Such diagrams, I've just added it for you to understand how you can add such diagrams in the answers. Let's say they have asked about what ethics is not, or something you're writing over here on the same paper. You're writing your answer like this. Just make a small diagram over here in this right corner, like this. Okay. Now, moving ahead. Getting into the detailed part. Now, because UPSC is interested in asking some detailed questions on the same parts. So, laws versus ethics. What is the difference between law and ethics? Basically, you understand now that law and ethics are not the same thing. But how they go together and how they go against each other in a contradictory manner. So, for example, laws based on ethical principles. There are many laws which are made in almost every society because of ethics. For example, the entire society feels that one should not kill some other person. That's why you have a law that you can't kill someone. Murder laws. You can't steal something. Theft laws. So here the laws are derived from the ethics. Ethics was already present. But ethics is not something which is codified. Right? So ethics is something everyone understands, and from that understanding, the lawmakers brought law. So this is the relationship we see over here. Then sometimes we see that law goes ahead of ethics, ethics is behind and law is moving ahead. For example, what is being considered ethical in Indian society right now and what is considered as unethical? Look at your parents, again I say, ask your parents about inter-caste marriage, then inter-religious marriage, and then same-sex marriage. You'll get the answers very clearly. What is acceptable to the society and what is not acceptable to the society and what they consider as ethical. Don't just think about acceptability. They consider, they have this, whether it's a belief or knowledge, whatever you call it. They are very clear about it, that same-sex marriage is wrong thing. It's unethical. This is the belief they hold to. They have complete clarity on that aspect. Now see, India has brought laws or is bringing laws, or countries, many modern countries, or those countries which are trying to become modern or progressive. What they do is, even if the social ethics, the ethics at the society level is not accepting something, they will still bring in some progressive idea. For example, country brings a law which protects inter-caste marriage or protects people who are going for same-sex marriage. When you come up with such protections through law, here we say law is way ahead of ethics. Rather, law is changing the ethical norms. Whatever is considered as ethical in the society, that will change because of law, right? Earlier, even dowry, taking dowry was considered to be very ethical thing, nothing wrong in that. But government brought a law. Now, slowly, the thought is changing, the ethical norm is changing. Okay? Next, ethical expectations beyond law. Now, in first example, we said law moving ahead of ethics. Now, in reality, ethics is always above the law, almost always above the law, because ethics comes up with some expectation from you, from within. Law might put one restriction on you. Law might say that you can't go for deforestation, or law might come up with some restrictions. One restriction or one final step, some boundary will be put by law. Ethics will rather tell you to go beyond that boundary and think about it. So when we look at the environmental protection and all, ethics will try to conserve the entire environment. It will not even allow you to even damage one plant, one small plant, even if it is not being conserved by your laws. Let's say we have environmental laws which protect, let's say, some species. Some plant species are protected under those laws. Law is protecting these and law is not protecting all other species. Ethics will say you have to conserve all. Everyone's life is important just as your life is important. Remember the same line which we studied about in Mahabharata or the Bible. Do unto others the same thing which you want others to do with you. So just the way your life is important, you don't want any other person to kill you. You're not going to kill even other plants or animals. This kind of ideas will be built in you. Okay? Now, so ethical expectation goes beyond the law. Then sometimes ethics and law are very contradictory, directly against each other. So let's say we take the example of a case of euthanasia. If you have watched this movie called Guzarish, a person over here, Hrithik Roshan, he's suffering from some kind of disease because of which he is not able to make any movement of his body. Okay. And he's suffering very badly. He's not even able to live a basic life which every other human being is living. And for that sake, he says, I want to die because life is full of suffering for me. It's better I should die. Please kill me. So he puts a petition of killing himself, suicide by choice over here, which we call as the case of euthanasia. Now here comes one interesting angle. We have medical ethics. Medical ethics will never allow the doctor to kill this person. So look at the contradiction. Ethics will say, no, not allowed. This is a suicide. This is a murder. If doctor is doing this, this is a murder. Or even a suicide, it's wrong. Ethics will not allow this. The medical ethics, medical code of conduct is not going to allow it. But there are many countries where passive euthanasia is allowed, considering the condition of this patient, knowing that living for few more days will be more tough for this person. Considering that dimension, this euthanasia would be allowed, right? So here we say ethics and law are completely contradictory to each other. Then something could be legal but unethical. Something law says right, ethics says wrong. For example, abortion. There are abortion laws, whether in US or whether in India. We allow abortion obviously till some particular limit, or there is this number of weeks which are mentioned in the law very clearly, that till this time you can go for abortion, otherwise you need some permission from the board or some court, whatever it is. We say abortion to some extent is allowed in India or any other country. Ethics will clearly say no, it's not right. It's completely wrong because you're killing a human being before even getting the birth. You're killing, that's wrong, 100% wrong. Then sometimes something could be ethical but illegal. That means ethics will say it is yes, law will say it is no. That was the same example which I gave about Gandhiji, the Salt March or civil disobedience. Gandhiji did something which is ethical, but he broke the law. He broke the law, so legally wrong, ethically right. So overall, with all these examples are important, you have to quote examples. With this, we can understand the relationship between laws and ethics. Now this relationship is very interesting. First of all, there is some similarity between laws and ethics. Both of them are trying to control society to bring in some order in the society. So these are mechanisms of social control. Law is also controlling people, ethics is also controlling people. Second, both of them have very huge impact on people, right? We are influenced by laws, we have some fear about law, and we have some fear about ethics. If we do something wrong, we feel remorse, we feel that guilt, right? So there is huge impact. Then both of these are omnipresent. Omnipresent means they are present everywhere. You look at any society in the world, laws are present and laws are influencing people. Ethics is present, ethics is influencing people. Not just it is present throughout the world. You look at any system, in our education system, in our family, in any dimension of our life. Everywhere law is present, ethics is present. Okay. And fourth thing that is common is both of them are society specific. See, the laws in India are different from laws in Iran, are different from laws in America. They are different because the societies are different. Their cultural thoughts are different. So similarly, you will observe that ethics is also considered as different in different societies. One example I'll give you simply. So if I talk about clothing, or let's say I talk about alcohol, just for the sake of example. Drinking alcohol, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Now in India, you might say it's a bad thing, but people drink, not a problem, it's okay. In the European societies, if you go, if you ask them, what do you think about alcohol? They'll say, okay, it's good, it's very good. They'll be like, you should have it in dinner every day. If you ask this question to a person living in the Middle East or the Arab countries, they'll say it is not at all allowed. It's not at all allowed. Now through this, I'm just trying to show you that the same thing can be considered as ethical in one society and unethical in other society. That is possible. So ethics is society specific. Even laws are society specific, just the same way. Like there will be some laws which seem to be completely unethical in India, and in some other countries they will be considered as good thing. Such difference is possible. So this is the similarity between laws and ethics. Now there is a difference. The basic difference is ethics is coming from society. Ethics which is built is coming from society. Law is coming from state, right? Through your constitution or your legal books. Ethics puts pressure more internally. If you have done something unethical, your own mind will tell you that you have done something wrong. You will feel very sad. You will feel that guilt. You will feel that remorse feeling. So the point is, it is more internal in nature when we are comparing. Okay, this is comparative stuff. When we compare it with laws, it seems ethics is putting pressure, and this pressure is more or less coming from my internal stuff, my mind. Whereas the pressure of law is bit external. The policeman will come, will take you to the jail. So the pressure is bit external in case of law. Then you look at ethics, it is culture specific and it is not codified at all. Ethics is not written somewhere. It's a bit abstract. Everyone knows it, but it's not written. But this law is codified. And because it is codified, it seems little bit objective. And this ethics seems little bit subjective because it's not written. Okay, so this is the core difference. And if I talk about their relationship, sometimes they go hand in hand. Sometimes they are on the same track. Ethics says don't kill, law says don't kill. They are on the same track. But sometimes they are completely contradictory, one against the other. That's why we call the relationship between laws and ethics as contingent or accidental relationship. Contingent or accidental, meaning is sometimes they will be together, sometimes they will be against each other. This is the complex relationship between laws and ethics. Tell me if it is clear or not. Or you have any doubt, please ask. Clear. Now see, again here, one diagram I have added. While writing the answer, if you have space somewhere you want to present better, make such diagrams. Mostly in ethics, similar kind of diagrams will be present. That some part will be part of law, some part will be part of ethics, some ground where both come together, that ground will be present. Such diagrams you can make. These will help you fetch some additional marks as compared to others. Okay, obviously your content matters. It's not like you'll write anything and then you expect to get good marks. Now, it's not an important concept, although I just want you to know what do we mean by dharma. Actually, I want to teach this concept, difference between ethics and religion. But to understand that better, understand difference between ethics and dharma. Now, mostly when we use this term dharma, we look at religion. Right? Nowadays, whenever we use this term dharma, we assume we are talking about religion. But when we look at the meaning of dharma, there are three essential or three core meanings. One meaning tells the nature or essential quality of something. So, if you have ever studied about the idea of dharma, it talks about your nature. Let's say we talk about fire. The nature of fire is to burn. It's its nature. It's not doing willfully or there's no choice involved or something. It is the real nature. It's its property. It's its real quality. So we say the dharma of fire is to burn. The dharma of sun is to give us light. The dharma of water is to flow. So here the meaning dharma means the nature or essential quality or the property. This is one meaning. Now the second meaning, which usually we read in texts like Mahabharata, Ramayana or any ancient text like Rig Veda. Here the meaning of dharma is duty or moral obligation. Now this is the dharma which we are interested in. So you must have at least known this example of Arjun and Krishna. That dialogue wherein Arjun says when the Mahabharata war is starting, he says, I'm a bit confused. My relatives are in front of me. How can I kill these people? How can I kill them? They are my fathers, forefathers. How can I use these weapons against them? He's confused. At this time, Lord Krishna very clearly says that it is your Kshatriya dharma. It is the dharma of Kshatriya to take these weapons and go ahead with this war, because this is what is needed at this moment. For the sake of justice, you have to do this even if your relatives are in front of you. Now understand one thing. Here, the meaning of dharma is about your duty or your moral obligation, morally what you are supposed to do. This is what we study in ethics. What ethics tells you, what you should do, what you are ought to do, what you are supposed to do, what is the right action and what you should do. That's the same thing. So while writing answers, you can make use of this term dharma interchangeably with duty or with ethics. Okay. And the third meaning obviously is religion. Now, moving ahead. Difference between religion and ethics. Similar to law and ethics, there will be some similarity, there will be some difference. Okay. And similar kind of relationship will be established here also. What is the similarity? Social control. Religion is trying to control people, control the entire society. Yes. Ethics is also trying the same thing. Very good. Omnipresent. Ethics is present everywhere. Religion is also present everywhere. Even in your family affairs, in your family stuff, when you're getting into some simple things like marriage. Marriage is your life's decision. But there, the role of religion comes into picture. So, religion is also omnipresent, just like ethics. Then, it talks about collective conscience. You see, for ethics, I said, every member of the society accepts the ethical norm, ethical rule, ethical principle. It is acceptable to everyone. It becomes part of their conscience. It becomes part of their common sense. Similarly, you observe, same thing happens in terms of religion also. Every member of that religion, he accepts everything said in that religious text. It is acceptable. It becomes part of the conscience. It becomes part of the common sense. Right? That's why collective conscience. And both of these are society specific. Just like ethics, you look at religions, they are society specific. Even if you read about religions, they are so society specific that a religion which has originated at a place, the geographical conditions, the cultural conditions have influenced the rules which are mentioned in that religion. So, they are society specific for sure. This is similarity. Now there is difference. What's the difference? Religion talks about transcendental belief. Transcendental, something beyond this world. Something God, rituals you need to do, Atma, whatever it is talking. Transcendental beliefs, beliefs beyond this physical world. Ethics is not talking about that. Ethics is talking about this world only. This world. What will happen in this world, what you should do in this world. Not talking about what will happen after you die. Religion will talk about that. Okay. Then, the pressure that is built on you. Now, look at this thing comparatively. When we discussed law and ethics, we said the pressure of law is coming from external part and ethics is bit internal. Now, here you see, the pressure of religion comes externally as well as internally, because you are taught about the religious values, religious texts since childhood. So internally also, when you do something wrong, you feel that I have done something wrong. God will not like it. That is internal. And externally there will be pressure because there are people who belong to the same religion, and when they see you doing something wrong, they'll stand, they'll take action against you, they'll boycott you. The religious priests and all, they will take some action against you. That happens. So there is external as well as internal pressure. Okay. Here, mostly ethics seems to be controlling you internally. It's putting pressure on you through the internal world or your conscience. And here, religion seems to be relatively objective only within that group. Let's say there's a group which belongs to Jain religion. In that group, whoever is there, for them all these rules are very much objective. They look at things in an objective manner. But when they look at something that is happening in other religion, Now they become very rational and they say this is wrong. So this objectivity part differs to some extent. Ethics, objectivity within social group. In the society, there will be relative objectivity, or people will accept the rules. I'll give you an example for this. In Islam, pork is forbidden, right? In Hinduism, cow is considered sacred. Now, this is the dimension where the people of the same group are going to consider this thing as objectively right. Their common sense will say that this is the 100% right thing. Now, you ask any person belonging to any other religion than Hinduism, they will say what kind of things they are having. This is a belief, this is a blind belief. There's nothing objective in it, right? But if you ask any member of the same group, they will think objectively and say this is the right thing. Okay, that's how things work. Here, so looking at similarity and the difference, again we come to the conclusion, what's the relationship between religion and ethics? So the relationship is again accidental. Somewhere they will go together, somewhere they will go against each other. And you have to quote some examples over here. For example, you can say, there are some people who will say morality or ethics. Right now, ethics and morality will use interchangeably. I'll tell you the difference later on. But ethics or morality, it is dependent on religion. You ask Mahatma Gandhi. People ask Mahatma Gandhi, sir, you are a very ethical person. How come you are so ethical? Gandhiji answered, because I am a religious person. Because I follow my religion. I have read religious texts. Being religious has helped Gandhiji to build this morality, to remain ethical. He will argue, or he argued, that ethics, for the ethics, religion is essential. Religion actually plays the most important role in building ethics. This is what Mahatma Gandhi believes in, and he is very clear about it. Now, we have other people like Karl Marx. Karl Marx is going to talk against religion, obviously. He'll say religion is opium of masses. Religion will tell whatever they want to, and then you will do whatever they are saying. You will not use your mind, the rational mind. So here, religion is contrary to morality is what some atheist will say. They'll say, when you start following religion, because religion has said some good things, you are following all these things and you are assuming this person has become ethical. But this person is not using his rational mind. What will happen? When a situation comes wherein he takes some action which is unethical, completely unethical, but just because of the religious text, he is doing that. Just because of the religious text, he is doing that act and getting into unethical act. And he is not considering himself as wrong. So here comes the role of understanding how religion can go against morality. So again, a suicide bomber. Suicide bomber with a complete belief in his religion, and he feels that I have to kill the people of other religion. He is very clear about it. For him, he's doing some action which is very ethical. But in reality, he's doing something very unethical. So that's where the thoughts of secular ethics or people like Karl Marx, they are going to consider religion as something wrong. So here there is contradiction. Okay, that's why contingent relationship is something we can say. Clear till now? Tell me if there is any doubt. Yes? Sir, will we get some document handy on keywords? There is no document on keywords. It's about you. Whether if you know one particular keyword and you don't need notes for it, then you don't need to mention. I suggest what you need to do is, after the lectures, just spend some time with whatever you have studied and just jot down all these keywords, because these are the keywords you have to use. Even if we give you any list, that won't make much sense unless you write it down. And the examples you need, there will be 10 examples given in books. Some examples I am discussing here, some examples you will get in other notes also. Just take 1 or 2 examples out of it, which you feel that you will write in the exam. Okay, so any handy keywords will not be provided, that you have to make, and those should be very short. Hardly, means I'll say for the final revision you should have A4 sheets of, let's say, 4 or 5 A4 sheets for ethics max, not more than that. Okay. So moving ahead, next is difference between ethics and morality. What is the difference between ethics and morality? Can anyone tell before I go ahead with it? Morality is more about values, but ethics are the principles that drives those values. Morality is more about values is fine, but ethics is also about values. Who said ethics is not about values? The same values might become your principles. Okay, no problem. Morality is about individual preference. Very good. Very good, Chetan. So see, initially, the meaning of ethics and meaning of morality was considered the same. Both these words were being used by people around the world interchangeably. Someone used to use morality, someone used ethics. Even we use it the same way. If you go back to the meaning, ethics comes from ethica, the word ethos. Morality comes from mors, Latin word. The meaning of these terms is same. That means in some societies they were using ethics, in some they were using morality as word. Both became common. Okay. Darshan is saying morals are our own principle. Okay, good. Good. Not own principles, but there is an order. I'll show you that. But to some extent it's good. Now, I said initially the meaning of ethics and morality was same. But with time, the meaning started changing. Here when we say morality, the role of individual becomes very important. How this person thinks. What this person considers as right or wrong. Now understand with this easy example. When this Israel-Hamas conflict started, we were getting many news related to that incident. Now, one of the incident which I was reading in the newspaper. So just imagine hypothetically, if not about Israel, let's say there's a fighter plane and you are the pilot and the Air Force has given you command to go and attack. You have that weapon, you have to attack the enemy. Now the enemy or the soldiers of enemy side or the terrorists are there inside a mosque. Okay. Now your senior from the Air Force has given you clear instruction, clear order, because there's a war going on. Clear instruction to target this mosque and attack. Now comes the situation wherein we are having a conflict between ethics and morality. Now look at ethics. What ethics says over here. See, your country is at war with other country. And you are a person who is coming from armed forces. Armed forces has a very clear rule. Discipline cannot be compromised in armed forces. If you are given any order, you have to follow that order no matter what. 1% deviation is not allowed. This is what the ethics of armed forces very clearly says. So when your senior has given this order, or let's say if not even senior, the Prime Minister has given order, whatever it is, you have this order to execute. You know your duty as an armed force officer to attack. But now ethics is saying attack. But what you are doing as an individual, you're looking at this mosque and you're saying, sir, it's a place of worship. It's a place of God. How can I attack on a place of God? Now here your morality is speaking. Here your morality is speaking. Here your morality is saying don't attack. Ethics is saying attack, morality is saying don't attack. So the basic difference over here is the role of personal preference about values. What is more important and what is less important. When you look at ethics, this ethics is setting some values, some order of values. What should be considered more important, what should be considered less important. There is an order. For example, I have to come to class on time. Let's say at 5:30 I'm supposed to come. So being punctual is one important thing. Second thing is I have to teach in a manner which you can understand and I don't have to compromise on the quality. This is the second thing. Qualitative teaching is second thing and coming on time is first thing. Now see what is more important in these two. Coming on time or teaching. Let's say I come late, I come at 6 o'clock, but I never compromise on the quality part. So there is a difference in the values. It is possible that for this coaching, for this institute, coming on time is very important. I'm not saying it is the case. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you a hypothetical example that there is an institute. It is possible for them coming to the class on time, that is more important rather than this part. But for me, it is possible that this is more important, this is not so important. So here we are setting the order of values. And that value order could be different for entire society. Here, this armed force is an entire society which has set some rules, some order of values. In that, this action is necessary in this case. This action is necessary. Even if it's a mosque, it is necessary. But for this person, his personal preference is to the mosque. For him, because he is a very religious person, and for him, this is more important. So the personal preference could be different. That's where we say the difference between ethics and morality comes into picture. Now, to get into the details of the relationship. Sometimes ethics and morality, they will go hand in hand. I have to come on time. Same example. I am supposed to come on time. This is what ethics says. Ethics of this institute says that I should come on time. My personal morality. Now there are different kinds of persons. Some people are like, why should we come on time? So they don't give much importance to time. But I am a kind of person who gives importance to time. If someone asks me to come at 6 o'clock, I reach there anyhow by 6 o'clock. I don't like to make people wait because I value time. So punctuality as a value is there in me. Even I give preference to punctuality. Now see the combination. Ethics says that you should be punctual and my morality also says I should be punctual. This is a very good combination. We like this combination. Here we say both are going hand in hand. Now, there could be something wherein ethics says it is wrong and morality also says it is wrong. For example, stealing. Let's say there is a thief coming to your home and he's trying to steal something from your home. What ethics will say? It's wrong. Stealing is wrong. Stealing is wrong. Now look at the morality of this person. Even this person doesn't like stealing. Even he knows that stealing is wrong. He doesn't want to do this. But just because he's a very poor person, there's nothing to eat at home and his children are waiting. So to bring something, he has gone for this stealing. It is possible? Yes. Look at the morality of this person. Even he considers this act as wrong. I'm not talking about those people who consider stealing as right. I'm saying for him, it is wrong. Ethics also says it is wrong. Again, ethics and morality are on the same page. Okay. Now the difference part, where ethics says yes, morality says no. Now this ethics is more of a social in nature, wherein if we take the example of sati tradition, for a long period, Sati tradition was very common in India. It was considered ethical thing. Going for sati was considered very good thing, right? So Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he said, no, it is not right. And this is coming from his morality. In his value system, human being, his dignity, his value, his life is more important than this tradition or any other thing. So here we see difference. Ethics says it is right, morality says it is wrong. Contradiction. And reverse, wherein ethics says wrong and morality says right. So patient begging for euthanasia to the doctor, the same example of passive euthanasia or active, whatever you call it. Now here, medical ethics is saying no, will not kill you, it is wrong, killing you will be wrong, or allowing you to die. It is absolutely wrong as per medical ethics. Ethics is saying no. But morality, maybe this person who is suffering, he is my friend or my brother or whatever. I can feel what he is going through. And I am going to the court to please allow this person to die. Or look at that person himself. His morality says, I want to die. That is better. So, morality is saying yes to euthanasia. Ethics, medical ethics is saying no to euthanasia. Are you getting the point? Or getting the difference between ethics and morality? Now, when you write answers, in case they ask the difference directly, I suggest you to make such boxes and write it down. I'll just briefly tell you. Ethics and morality. Ethics is those norms, those ideals, those principles, those values which are set by society, which is acceptable to society, and it is shared among entire society. Every member of the society accepts it. The same order is acceptable to the society. Okay, now this could be a society, entire society. This could be a particular organization. So you are working in a particular company, let's say Tata or Infosys. They will come up with their rules, their code of conduct, their code of ethics. Even in your civil service, you will have some code of ethics. So it is just for that society. Whereas morality is about personal beliefs about what is right and what is wrong. And those beliefs could be different from what the entire society considers as right. That order could be little bit different. Then, now when we compare ethics and morality, till now what we thought, ethics is internal and all other things are externally putting pressure. But when we compare ethics with morality, here it seems morality is putting pressure from internally. Your conscience, your personal value sets, they are putting pressure on you. They are not letting you take the right decision over here. They are telling you what is right, what is wrong. And here ethics seems, comparatively, ethics seems more external because it's coming from your society, you're coming from your institutions and all other things. Okay, so comparatively in ethics and morality, morality is more internal. Clear? Now, ethics, because it is acceptable to all society members, it seems a bit objective. Whereas morality, for every individual, it is different. So it is very much subjective in nature. Okay, so that's how you can look at it. Now, one thing, in case you don't accept what the ethics says, you go against ethics, what will happen? Internally, you will feel bad, but also there will be some societal pressure. At least there will be some societal pressure. You will feel that if people know that I have done this act, what they will think about me, then you feel bad. You go through that remorse. But think about this thing wherein you go against your morality. It's your own personal beliefs. When you go against it, it's not about that shame and all, what people will think or how will I survive in this society. No, it's about inner stuff. When you do something against your own conscience, against your own values, that is tough. Even if entire society considers you as a right person, you will be in pain very badly. Let's say there's a terrorist attack which is going on, and you have the gun, you have access to gun, you can kill this person. But your morality says that killing anyone is wrong. It's very tough for you. Entire society, entire world expects you to kill this person, and you killed. You killed it for the society. You did something which is considered most ethical. But now, today onwards, you're not able to sleep because you killed a person. That was against your morality. So when you go against your morality, which is very deep rooted, this guilt, remorse and internal discomfort will not let you live the basic life, simple life, happy life. It becomes very tough for you. Clear? Easy? Ethics versus morality. Now, interchangeably, we use this term that ethics is a morality of entire society. It's a social morality. Society's morality is ethics. And what is morality? It is the ethics of one individual person. That's how we try to define it sometimes. Clear? Tell me if there is any confusion or you need any clarity on this part. Yes, Darshan, clear? Okay. Enjoying ethics? Hopefully. Now, moving ahead. Now, next subtopic, what we are supposed to study is the determinants of ethics, and it's a very easy stuff. I'm not going to go into the details because you can understand now. If basically you're understanding the concept of ethics. Now, how the ethics comes into picture. When I say determinants, what are the factors which are leading to build this ethics in the society? Means whatever is considered as ethical or unethical, something which is considered ethical in our society. Why? What factor has led to this thing? Or something which is considered unethical in another society. Why it is considered unethical there? What are those factors? What are those determinants? So, first factor is your geography. Wherever you live, your geography is going to impact or have some influence on you. We must have studied that geography has a role to play in your economy, in your culture, mostly in your cultural part. So, the example that I gave related to alcohol, that if you go to Middle East, it's not allowed. And if you go to the European society, it's very much allowed, it's very much good thing. Same with this burqa or parda tradition that we have in India, especially in the areas of Rajasthan. Now, the areas of Rajasthan, you can compare that area with the Middle Eastern region. Both of them are desert regions. So somewhere these traditions have come from the geography. Because of the similar geography, we see similar kind of traditions coming into picture. So geography has some role to play. Once, because of the geography, your culture or your way of life is decided. The language you speak, the clothes that you wear, everything is very much dependent on geography. So the parts of the world where the temperature is very low, European societies, people are wearing clothes very differently, or people are drinking alcohol because it is healthy for their body. When they are taking alcohol, consuming alcohol, it is not deteriorating their body to the extent it seems to be deteriorating a person who is living in Middle East. It is said, there's a saying that in Middle East, if you drink alcohol or if you drink old monk, you become dead monk. Because the temperature in this desert region is very high, and when you're drinking, when you're consuming alcohol, you are again creating problems for your body. Now the point is, here somewhere geography is influencing our culture, and through culture, religion being one part of culture, the ethical set of values, the principles that are in our mind, they are influenced by this geography. Okay. Now the second part, demography. Demography means we're talking about the population. So we go for census and all. Now look at the population. If there is a country in which there are more people living, so there will be competition. There will be competition because more people are living, the resources are less, so there will be competition. In such a society, competition will be considered something very ethical. If you are competing with other people, it's a very good thing, very ethical thing. Now compare this with the society where already very less people are living. You go to Ladakh, some small village in Ladakh where hardly 10-20 people are living. Or you talk about minority groups like Jews or the Jain community in India, the Parsi community in India. There are very less number of people in this particular community. And you will observe more cooperation rather than competition. They will think that competing with one another is not a good thing. Why? Because we are already less in number. Imagine that village where already only 10 people are living. Are they going to compete with one another? Or rather, they are going to cooperate with one another. So, in such a society, the population number matters. If more population is there, people will consider competition as good thing. Whereas the reverse will happen if there is less number. Or let's say we take the example of sex ratio. Sex ratio, you understand? How many males, how many females are there in the society? So, if equal number of females and equal number of males are there, then marriage as an institution can continue very easily. There is no problem. 1,000 males, 1,000 females. Everyone will marry, no problem. Right? Now in India, mostly if you ask people, if you ask them, what do you think about marriage? Should there be polygamy or there should be monogamy? That means you should marry one person or you should have multiple partners. Now even you people, you will answer, sir, monogamy. Nowadays monogamy. We consider monogamy as ethical right now. But in the same society, some times back, we have seen polygamy very common. Or areas where sex ratio is disturbed. Let's say there are 1,000 females and only 500 males. It's a hypothetical example, obviously. So let's say there was a war going on and 500 males died. Now how can you continue marriage as an institution over here? If you want that to continue, you will have to go for polygamy. You will have to. Or similar could be the case wherein if females are less in number, males are more in number. Again you have to go for polygamy, and in such a society, polygamy will be considered ethical and not unethical as such. Today we considered polygamy as unethical. Why? Because the sex ratio is very much stable right now in India. It is stable, that's why we consider it. Then you talk about the diversity. If you are a person who has been living in an area where everyone is very much similar, let's say you belong to, let's say, Hindu community, okay? Now you live in a village where everyone belongs to Hindu religion. You never came out of this village, you never saw any city, you never met any person belonging to other religion, and mostly not just Hindu, all are, let's say, vegetarian Hindus. Now your value sets will be very different. You will consider being non-vegetarian as unethical. You will consider being non-vegetarian as unethical because you have been in this group. You've never met any other group as such. There's no diversity of group in your population. But people living in heterogeneous societies, so society in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, people from different areas are coming there. Every person is coming up with his own moral system, his own values, which are very different for the other person. You will have to sit with a person who is a non-vegetarian. Even if you believe in untouchability, you have to travel in metro. Here in the metro, you can't practice untouchability. It's not possible. So, in such areas where there is very high diversity in the population, what will be considered ethical will be way different over here. Way different. Okay? Next, determinant. See, one, geography. One, demography. Next, economic system. So what is the economic system in any part of the world? That also decides what you consider as right or wrong, what you give more importance to. So if, let's say, your primary sector like agriculture is dominant. So some years back, if you go in India, agriculture sector was very dominant. Now if you want to do agriculture, you need entire family to stay there. One person cannot do this, all the activities of agriculture. You need more people. Now that's the reason this family system is needed. Especially in case of India, we have this joint family system. Entire family can work in the farms. But now, tertiary sector is evolving. And in this tertiary sector, people working in IT and all, they don't need family. One person can work and earn money, no problem. So here, people don't prefer joint family, they prefer nuclear family. Now see, what is considered more ethical, what should be given more importance. The values of people are changing. Your parents or your forefathers, they give way much importance to the family, joint family as well as family values. What family thinks is more important. And nowadays you people, you prefer nuclear family, not just nuclear, you give more importance to individual rather than family. So the question which I asked earlier, that you are from Karnataka and the lady is coming from Arunachal and your parents are saying no. What will be your decision? Whether you will go with your family or you will go with her. See the difference that will come into picture. If you belong to this time and in this society you are living, in that case most of the people, they will choose family. And if you are living in such a society wherein you are working in, let's say, IT, you are living in an urban area, most probably you will give more importance to your individual choice. Okay. Even the economic system like capitalism or socialism, that has also a role to play. In capitalistic societies, individual is given more important. Individualism is given more important. In societies where there is socialism or communism, India is also having some socialistic elements. So here we will observe that community, family, society will be given substantial importance over individual. Okay. Then similarly, your political system also matters. If you are living in democracy, what values you will have? Ask questions, show dissent, tolerance, discussion, these will be your values. You will give importance to this thing. But if you are living under a tyranny, you are living in North Korea, you are so habitual, or let's say not even North Korea, you are working in armed forces. Armed forces give way more importance to obedience. Way more importance. If you are there in North Korea, maybe you will consider obedience as important, more important. And in democracy, people, because of that democratic setup, they become so much habitual. Now they consider asking question, showing dissent, not obeying any order and asking questions first is something they consider very ethical thing, very good thing to do. So, political system has a role. Then the religion which you belong to, that religion also plays some role in determining your ethics. First of all, how many people are belonging to your religion, the area in which you are living or you are interacting with people. Everyone is of the same religion, then your thoughts will be different. If the area has multiple people from multiple religions, then your thoughts will be different. Okay, there's a chance you'll be very conservative if you have communication only in your religious community. And when you interact with others, your thoughts will be different. So what you consider as ethical will become different, and mostly tolerance will be developed in you. When you interact with people of different community, you will become tolerant towards their ideas. But if you just have communication with one particular community, then there is high chance that you become intolerant towards the others' ideas. Clear? Now this is a bit debatable stuff about the nature of religion and being a bit sensitive also. Some religions are considered as progressive religions and some are considered regressive. And how we determine whether something is progressive or regressive? We look at the vulnerable population, women, children, old age people, persons with disabilities. How does your religion treat them? Does your religion uplift these people, give more importance to their dignity, or degrades them? On the basis of this thing, we consider some religions as progressive, some as regressive. I won't say that you have to mention the name of any religion. That would not give good impression in the answers, but you can write your argument for sure. Okay. This also decides what you consider as ethical or unethical. Now this is important. Now one part, individual part. Look at individuals. They have their own knowledge, they have their own belief system. That also has some role to play in their ethics, what they consider as ethical or unethical. So their values, their knowledge, that matters. Your cultural or societal norms. Now, although we have covered this part, but see, in Indian society, we expect that you marry with the will of parents and not with your own will. That's a problem. So this is something interesting. Arranged marriage is given very much importance in India. That is considered ethical in India. So cultural part or societal part is involved. That also decides what you consider as ethical or unethical. Then your education and upbringing. A person who is more educated, who has got access to diverse knowledge resources, or he is getting education from some institutions of excellence where he is reaching to multiple thoughts, different thoughts. So what he considers ethical will be very much different. Okay. And last is this peer and social influence. Okay, this example is quite important. You can mention this. Baba Amte. So if you have ever read about Dr. Baba Amte, so he got influenced by the values of his father. So his father, he saw that his father was very much interested in doing something for the tribal people in the area to which he used to belong to. Now this person became a doctor, but instead of continuing his practice in some urban areas and earn substantial amount of money, he preferred to go back to those tribal regions and started serving people using his knowledge. So here we see that the values of father have influenced son. So this upbringing part, education plus upbringing part, is very important in considering what is to be considered as more important or more ethical. And the last is your peer group and social influence. Peer means those people, your friends, your colleagues. Now they have a lot of influence on you. That's why your parents are very concerned about you. That you're talking to whom, if you're going somewhere, who is coming with you. They are very much concerned because they know that the highest impact a person will have on his brain will be from his peer groups. Peer groups will have the highest impact. So if all your peer group members, they are smoking, most probably you will also smoke, or at least you will consider smoking as a good thing, or at least it's not that bad. So this is very much important. So to go back, we were studying determinants: geography, demography, economic system, and then political system, religion, individual, cultural factors, education, and peer groups. Any doubt till now? So the religion part. Okay. See, in your area, let's say some people belong to Hinduism, some people belong to Islam, some belong to Christianity. Such multiple religious people are living and you are being brought up in that area. Now, because you have interacted with all these people, you will yourself develop some tolerance towards the ideas and beliefs of others. You will develop that naturally. But let's say there is a person who is brought up in an area where everyone belongs to his religion. So here, he will not develop this idea of tolerance. Most probably, he is going to consider whatever is mentioned in his religion as the right thing, and whatever other people are saying, people of other religion, he will not be tolerant towards them, at least to listen to their ideas, to give basic importance to their ideas. He won't be tolerant. So this, how many religions are there, that matters. And then nature of your religion, your personal religion. You belong to one religion, whether your religion is regressive or progressive. So your religion gives importance to women or degrades them, makes them some kind of object, objectifies them, gives more importance to males rather than females. Think about it. So if your religion is of a kind which builds a progressive society, which gives importance to progression, makes you modern, being religious for you will not set you in a restricted environment, rather frees you. then such a religion will be called as progressive religion. So just to give an example, the people who belong to Protestant Christianity, they claim they belong to a religion which is very progressive as compared to Catholic Christians. Okay. Yeah. Any doubt apart from this? Let's move ahead. Now see, moral intuitionism is something you should have a brief idea about. Now, when we are discussing determinants of ethics, sometimes we say that I feel that this is right, I feel that this is wrong. Some feeling, some emotions part that is getting involved. There we talk about moral intuitionism and moral reasoning. Now UPSC had once asked about this moral reasoning part and moral intuitionism. The basic difference they asked once. You should have a brief idea about it. Now, when you say intuition, this word intuition, you must have heard this from many people. When an artist, let's say a painter, he's painting, which color to choose, at which point, how many colors to choose, how to paint, this is not something which is taught to this person. He's just getting some kind of gut feeling. Suddenly he's getting that gut feeling, and that's what we call as intuition. It's an ability to understand or know without evident rational thought. He did not think about it. He just got that feeling and just started painting. Or another artist, like an actor, many actors who do theater or they're acting in movies. What they do is sometimes they're not prepared. They just, whatever script they have, they start performing, and intuitively they start performing better. They do something very interesting. So it was not planned. They did not think rationally as such. It was coming through the intuition. Then many entrepreneurs, or let's say people who are doing this stock market trading and all, now they get gut feeling that I want to invest here. Here there will be profit. So this is something we are talking about intuition, where the feeling part is involved rather than thinking part. Understand the difference. First you get this instinctive feeling, or rather, instead of feeling, I should use the word emotion. Okay. So without thinking, without rationally thinking, just this feeling element is coming into picture. That's what we call as intuition. And when we are adding this moral part over here, moral intuition, what does it mean by moral intuition? Some people argue that under moral intuition, whoever argues, they say that what is considered moral or morality is something which is coming from human beings, from within. And here, thinking is not needed. Rationally thinking is not needed. We humans naturally inbuilt are made in such a way that just like our sensory organs, they tell you something, they sense something, you feel something. Similarly, you understand what is right and what is wrong. You don't even need to think about it. This happens before thinking. Your sensory organs, whatever your sensory organs are telling you, that is before thinking. So moral intuitionism will say this thing, that it is natural to human person. For example, people love one person loving other person. This love is something which is not calculated by a rational mind. It was not at all rational. Okay. Whereas other side who talks about moral reasoning, they say that we can decide what is right and wrong using our rational mind. We'll use our reasoning ability, our logical mind, and then we'll decide what is right and what is wrong. So these are two kinds of people we will have, two kinds of scholars we'll have, two kinds of theoretical frameworks we will have to understand or to decide how we decide the morality. Clear? Any doubt on this moral intuition and moral reasoning? No? Now just one additional stuff, although it's not part of your syllabus as such, but just for the sake of additional stuff I've added this part. There's a guy called Kohlberg. this Kohlberg person, he gave a theory which is named as theory of moral development. And he says that he belongs to this category, first of all, moral reasoning category. So he supports this idea that our reasoning is needed to decide what is right and what is wrong, and we decide it on the basis of our rational mind. And he clearly says that human beings develop their morality with time. Your age has some role to play. Your development, the morality, the rational mind develops with time. When you are very young, at the age of 3 to 7, you consider something right, something wrong, the reasons are different. After some years, you become something else. This is how the development takes place. Okay, it's a very long example to give, but we don't want to waste our time because we have a lot of important things to study. Just in the answers, try to mention about Kohlberg's moral development theory. You don't even need to mention all this stuff, just Kohlberg's moral development theory if you are talking about moral reasoning. Okay, that with time, what you consider as right or wrong will change. When you are a child, you consider something as right, but when you are old, you consider it as wrong. So your morality keeps on changing with time, with the development stage. Okay? Yeah, should I continue? Any doubt till now? No? Okay, good. Now, just some theoretical part for the sake of understanding. Dimensions of ethics. Now, when we look at ethics, we try to study it. We look at different approaches. So, some theoretical approaches are there and some applied part is there. Okay. Now, when you look at the theoretical portion, we look at different branches of ethics. One branch is called normative ethics. One branch is called descriptive ethics. Other branch is called meta ethics. And a complete branch called as applied ethics over here, which is not theoretical, it is applied. Understand one difference. When we think about what is right, what is wrong, what is morality, what is ethics, what are those principles, what is the purpose of life, here somewhere we are playing theoretically, right? We are going theoretically. When we say applied, we are applying these theoretical frameworks in the real life condition, real life problems, real world issues. So, some kind of environmental issues are going on, let's say, climate change, deforestation, whatever. Media problems, sensationalism is going on, or fake news is going on. So, when you apply all these stuffs in these real world conditions, there we talk about applied ethics. Okay. But first, you should know the theory part. Now, in the theory part, one branch is called as descriptive ethics. Descriptive, that means they are describing something. Now, this is the branch of ethics which is not going to tell you what is right, what is wrong, what you should do, what you should not do. They will rather describe. They will just describe what is ethics. So here, let's say, in some tribal areas, there are some practices which are very different from the mainstream. So, let's say animals are killed in some tribal areas in India. Now, in the mainstream society, killing animals is not something that is considered ethical. So, they have different practice, you have different practice. Someone is vegetarian, someone is non-vegetarian. Now, when you show this difference and say that for you this is ethical, for this person this is ethical. So, such kind of description, when there is such kind of description is involved, rather than giving you some kind of advice or suggestion or norm. If I'm telling you a norm that you should do this, you are supposed to do this, then I'm not talking about descriptive ethics. Here I just describe what it is. Okay, this is a descriptive ethics. Whereas normative ethics is different. Normative means it's talking about norm. It is going to tell you what you are ought to do, what you are supposed to do, what you should do, what is the right thing to do. Okay, so in normative ethics, this norm is involved. The norm will be told to you. Clear? Normative ethics, descriptive ethics. Applied we anyway understand. Meta ethics is something way more different. So it is actually getting into the meanings of what is good, bad, right, wrong and all. So when you say something is good, they will ask, what do you mean by good? Can there be something good or bad also? What do you mean by bad? So they'll get into the meanings of these terms. They'll say, the meaning of good, is it objective or is it subjective? It keeps on changing. They'll get into those details. That's the another discipline we can say, meta ethics. Clear till now? Theoretical, applied. In theoretical, we have these three branches. Okay. Now, let's talk about these three branches under theoretical framework. Just some basic idea you should have. So, normative, descriptive and meta. Right? First take descriptive. Or let's say in the slide, okay. In this slide we have normative first. So, okay, we'll talk about normative. In the normative ethics, we have three different branches or three frameworks through which we look at things as ethical or unethical. One is called teleological ethics, other is called deontological ethics, third is called virtue ethics. Now this virtue ethics I'll discuss after some time, because for that I want you to understand what are values. After understanding values, we'll understand virtue. There I'll tell you. Right now I'll tell you deontology and teleology. Okay, this is part of normative ethics. Means this is the ethical framework which is telling you what you should do, what you should not do. Very clearly they'll tell you. So, deontology and teleology. Now see, whatever action you are doing, I'm talking about action. It could be right, it could be wrong. Now, how should we decide if your action is right or wrong? Now, there are two things which we can consider. One is the means, second is the end. End or ends. What do I mean by means and ends? When I say end, I'm talking about the final purpose. Why I'm doing this thing? What is the purpose? If I just think about the purpose and I do my action, I gave you that example of power in the beginning. So if you want power, that power is your purpose, that is your end. Now when you decide your action is right or wrong based on the end, that means if my end purpose is completed, then my action is right. So I wanted power or I wanted happiness. For that I became IPS or I became gangster, doesn't matter. Whatever path I choose, my end purpose is to get power, I got it. So if I got it, then my action is right. Teleology, when we talk about teleology, here the word teleo means purpose or end purpose. People who support this idea of teleology, they will say that your action is right if whatever purpose, whatever end result was supposed to be taken up or was supposed to exist or was supposed to be brought in is completed, then your action is right action. Now I'll give you a few examples to understand. Don't consider it as something very wrong thing. So one example I have from Irfan Khan. So Irfan Khan, to get selected in the National School of Drama, in one of his interviews, he clearly said that he lied in the interview, that I have done these many plays and all. So there was a criteria over there that you should have done 10 plays, otherwise we will not entertain you here in the interview. But he said that I have done. He brought some fake certificates and all. He just claimed that I have done this thing. Now look at his argument that if I don't do this, they will not even give me this opportunity to even show my talent. Okay, and it will go in vain. And I had to get here. This was more important. This was necessary. So to serve my end purpose, what means he used? He lied, but that was still okay for him because the end purpose is served. End purpose is served. Now here it might seem a negative example, right? I'll show you one positive example. Go back to Mahabharata. When this Mahabharata war was supposed to take place, when some conversation were taking place, one clear idea of Lord Krishna was that Pandavas have to win. Pandavas are supposed to win. By hook or crook, they will have to win. And he has a reason. He has a reason why Pandavas should win. Because that will bring in a good moral order in the societies. Now, for Pandavas to win, if we can win with good means, that means properly we will do war with rules. Whatever the rules of war are there, we'll follow all the rules and we'll ethically go for war and we will win. That could be one way. Or we might use some bad tactics, some unethical tactics in the war if needed. Because here Lord Krishna looks at the entire action as right or wrong based on the end result and not the means. If at the end Pandavas win and at the end a good moral order in the society is built, which Kauravas cannot build. If Kauravas are there, then they will have a system like, let's say, North Korea. If Pandavas are there, there will be some democracy. Think about this dimension. So he is interested in this end. If end purpose is served and you have taken any means for that, it doesn't matter. Take right means or wrong means. Means means what action you have done. What action you have done. That action could be good action, bad action. It doesn't matter. If the end result is good, everything is good. Another example, India-Pak. Let's say India-Pakistan war is going on. Okay. Now there could be one way you fight in a very ethical manner, and sometimes there is a possibility or there are options wherein you can do something which is very heinous just to win the war. Now for the government, winning war is very important. For that, if it requires them to do something very unethical, they'll do that. They'll do that. And that their action most probably will be judged on the basis of the end result. Okay. So this is teleology. Your action is morally right or morally wrong. It is being decided based on the end result. This is one side. Now we have second side, deontology. Now these are very interesting people. They will say, sir, means is very important, end doesn't matter. Rather, if your means is good, end will also be good. Now this is the same segment which Gandhiji supported. Ideas of Gandhiji, ideas of Immanuel Kant, all these people support this idea of deontology. Now here they are saying that there are some rules, there are some ethical rules which are common in the world and they should be common. If you allow everyone to think about the end result, then you will allow people to do any action they want to. Let's say your parents send you to Delhi or some other center just to prepare for UPSC, and your parents tell you that you decide whether smoking is right and wrong, you think about the end result and then take the decision whether it should be done or not. Smoking. Will they say this? Or will they clearly say, no means no, this action is not allowed? They'll talk about the means. When I say means, I'm talking about the action. That you will not do any wrong action. Deontology will say that don't think about end result. What will happen in the end? We don't know what will be in the end result. You just follow the right process. You just follow the right action. You do the right action. Okay. So any person preparing for the exam, maybe if he is like, I don't care about means, then he might cheat in the exam to get selected. But a person who is just thinking about means, he will just focus on the action. He'll do that action, that's it. Now, whether he gets selected or not, doesn't matter. Okay. Here the point is, your action is morally right or wrong. Whether your action is morally right or wrong, it is not dependent on end, rather on the action itself. You don't lie, you be honest. You should not murder someone. This is where we are talking about the means or the action itself. Action in itself is judged by deontology. And teleology, what it will do? It will judge the result of the action. If the result is good, then the action is good. If the result is bad, then the action is bad. This is how teleology will judge. Clear? Any doubt? Please. This is very important. If there is any confusion, please ask. Yes, any doubt? No confusion. Very good. Good. We are clear with deontology. We are clear with teleology. Let's get back to see the diagram first. So in the normative part, deontology, teleology clear. Virtue ethics, I'll tell you later on. Okay. Now this was normative ethics. Now if I talk about descriptive ethics, which describes things. It's not going to tell what is right, what is wrong. It is just describing stuffs. Okay. Now here we talk about absolute ethics and relative ethics, or rather we use the term called absolutism, ethical absolutism and ethical relativism. What do I mean by that? Now here we will have two kinds of people. One kind of people who are called absolutist. They'll say that if something is wrong, it is wrong everywhere at every point of time. It's not, you cannot say that you're living in America, so it is right. You're living in Middle East, so it is wrong. No, it's not like that. If something is wrong, it's wrong everywhere. In the space, that means you go to any part of the world, it's not going to change. If it is wrong, it is wrong. If you change the time, in the ancient time also it was wrong, in the present time it is wrong, in the medieval also it was wrong, in the future it will be wrong. For example, killing someone, murder, it's considered wrong. You go to any society in the world, it's wrong. It's not like in society to society it is going to change. No. You go to ancient time till this present time, it's considered wrong. Then there should be peace in the world. Look at the idea of peace. It was wrong, it is wrong everywhere, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the thing is. So, idea of absolute ethics clearly says that ethics or the principles in the ethics, they are completely universal. They don't depend on any situation as such, and the action can be judged in a very objective manner. Okay, you can look at any action very objectively, that if you have killed someone, no matter what the situation is, that he was killing you or he was a terrorist, whatever. If killing is wrong, it is wrong. Don't kill anyone. Such strong ethics is established under this absolutist category. If you're writing answers, you can use such quotations. Now, this is St. Augustine. He's a philosopher from the medieval times. He says, right is right even if no one is doing it. Wrong is wrong even if everyone is doing it. So, while writing answers in the introduction or in the conclusion, you can write such statements to show this absolutist viewpoint. Okay, if a person, so when I asked about capital punishment, one of you said, sir, it should not be there. This is the person who is coming from absolutist category. No matter what, don't kill. Don't kill. No matter what the situation is, whatever he has done, don't kill. Give whatever punishment you want to, but don't kill. This is absolutistic idea. Okay. Now, exactly opposite to this will be the idea of relativism. Relativist will say that ethical principles cannot be universal. Rather, they change with time, they change with space, they change with situation. So, for example, you talk about this euthanasia example which we had taken. Murder is a different thing. But murder in the case of euthanasia is different. This is what this relativist will say. Again, person belonging to this absolute category, he will clearly say, even this is a murder. Don't kill. But a person supporting euthanasia will say that, no sir, in this situation, this is a situational stuff. Situational. Here the circumstances are different. Even if you are killing someone in self-defense, even there, the situation or circumstances are different. So people who talk about relativism, they will say that ethics cannot be completely universal, rather it may change. It might be subjective, it may depend on the situation. Okay, and they will clearly say that if I am killing a terrorist or if I am killing someone in self-defense, that is right or that is considered ethical in our society. Getting the difference? Basic difference between how we look at ethics. Absolutist perspective and relativist perspective. Now, if you are clear till now, understand one thing. Every society is in the phase of transition or is in the stage of progression. There are some people who are today living in a structure which is of ancient time. You look at people living in Andaman, they're still living in some stone age. Some people, not everyone. There are some societies which are living in medieval times. Okay. Some people living in the medieval to modern. For example, India is a society where people are transitioning from medieval to modern because we still have this caste system. We are attached to religion. This is something medieval. And now we are trying to become modern. We are in between. In modern society, there will be equality. There will be equality. There won't be any caste hierarchy as such. But there are some societies, let's say in Europe or some parts of the world, where they are already modern. There is complete equality. There is no caste hierarchy or something like that, some medieval order. Or some societies, they are going way beyond the modernity. They talk about postmodernism. So simply understand, all societies are not at the same stage of development. They are not at the same stage of development. That's the reason there is conflict between societies. One society considers one dress code as a good thing, whereas other will consider it as one of the worst thing. How come you can wear such clothes? This is what the other society will say, right? This relativism will be there. The reason why we have relativism is because every society is not fully developed, or the ethics in that society is not fully developed. Understand? That's the reason this relativism exists in the societies. And when we talk about this absolutist perspective, in reality their perspective is right. Practically it seems relativism is right, but theoretically when we think about it, one day, theoretically, one day, if all the societies evolve completely, they become completely advanced, then all the societies will be on the same page. And that is the idea of absolutist ethics. Okay? Are you getting this point, or it's a bit heavy for you to understand right now? Please confirm. Absolutist versus relativist ethics. Please confirm whether I should repeat or you're getting it. Chetan understood. What about others? Darshan, Nishi, Sakshi? Understood or confusion? Darshan clear? Yeah, females. No patriarchy in the society. Sakshi confused. Okay, I'll tell you. Now, when I say absolute ethics, absolutistic, they are saying what is right and what is wrong cannot change with time. If lying is wrong, then it is wrong in India also, it should be wrong in entire world. If lying is wrong, it should be wrong everywhere. They say moral principles, you can't debate that. Somewhere they will be applicable, somewhere they won't be applicable. They are applicable everywhere, they are universal. Killing is wrong, 100% wrong everywhere, at any place in the world, at any point of time. It is wrong means it is wrong. This is the view of absolutist. It's a very rigid view. It's a very rigid view. Okay. Whereas relativists say, sir, you can't look at things like this. Situation matters. Sometimes the situation is of a kind wherein you have to do this, wherein you have to kill people. So you can't say absolutely killing is unethical. You can't say this. They are saying sometimes it is ethical to kill. Killing a terrorist is an ethical thing. Or killing in self-defense is an ethical thing. This is what relativists will say. There is a fight between these two. Okay, even if you are getting confused, just understand one thing. There are two different thought processes over here. I hope till now you have understood. The confusion would be here wherein I am saying, I am talking about that evolution of society, wherein I am saying, you see, in medieval times, even for smaller crimes, people were being hanged. They were killed for even smaller crimes. Let's say you have stolen something, your hands will be cut or you are hanged. In modern societies, does this happen? You look at any country who considers itself as modern. Do they kill someone just because you have done something wrong? In the rarest of rare case, they might be doing it. But in the basic stuff, I'm saying, no, for normal crimes, no, we don't kill someone. So don't you think that societies are evolving? When you become modern, you have a different ethical setup. Now here these absolutists say, when the society will completely evolve, you were medieval, you became modern, you started, means your society evolved, your thought process evolved, what you consider as ethical. Earlier you liked sati pratha, sati tradition, now you don't like. This is how society evolved. And once you reach to that upper stage, where it is completely evolved, you know what is ethics completely. This is the idea of absolutists. They say, here you will reach where you will say, if something is wrong, it is 100% wrong, everywhere it is wrong. If something is right, it is 100% right, everywhere right. Okay. Now, because in the entire world, every society is not at the same pace of development, same pace of ethical development, moral development. That's the reason relativism exists, I'm saying. That's the reason everyone is not on the same line. Okay. That's it. Now, any doubt? Or don't worry about it. Anyway, they are not going to ask this much deeper. I'm just giving you an idea so that your understanding gets developed on this point. Okay. Yeah, questions are relatively easier. We get into the details so that we should be ready with some advanced stuff. Okay. Now, applied ethics, I've already told you. Applied ethics involves, we are using all these theoretical stuff and applying it on the real life issues. For our environment, we have climate change, deforestation, animal rights issues, all these issues. This you can read, not a problem. Now, if you have understood everything till now, now we can sum up this part to understand the role of ethics. First thing, why ethics is needed, the role of ethics. First, for the individual. When a person is ethical, when he is acting in an ethical manner, he is doing what is right and nothing that is considered wrong. So, he is very clear in his conscience. Whatever he feels right, he is doing that action. So, thoughts and action, they are in alignment. They are going on the same pace. Now, first of all, this keeps you very happy. When you do something which you don't like, your thoughts are saying something else and you're doing something else. You don't like this action, still you're doing it. You won't be happy. So, first of all, you will be happy. Second, your decision making will improve. If you're an ethical person, you will take the right action. So, your decisions will always be the right decisions. You won't take wrong decisions. Okay. Then, because you know that you would always take right action, some self-esteem will be developed. In your mind, your value is more. Right now, I'm sure most of you feel this problem that I feel that I'm not so important as such. But if you take the right action every time, you're an ethical person, the value of yours in your own mind will improve. That self-esteem will improve. You will give importance to yourself because you know why you are important, because you do the right things. Okay, this is very good. Then there will be self-reflection. To take ethical action every time, you think about actions, you think about the result of your actions, you consider all these complex things, and in this process you self-reflect, self-introspect. What is the purpose of my life? Why am I existing? Why should I take the right action? So you will get clarity about yourself by being an ethical person. If you are an ethical person, if you do the right things, that will help you bring clarity about yourself. Who are you? Okay, that's one very famous question in philosophy. Okay, this is individual part. Now talk about the people around, talk about the relationships, whether these are personal relationships or relationship between couple or parents or whatever. These relationships, or you talk about the relationships at the public level or in the organizational level, relationship between an employer and an employee. All these relationships are built on the basic tenets of trust. Trust is very important. If two people are living together, if there is no trust, there is no relationship. So whether it's a long distance relationship or a short distance relationship, whether it's a relationship with your friends or your professional relationship, if there is no trust, there won't be a relationship as such. So you see, there are some people whom people trust a lot. Let's say in your group. In your group, you are the person whom everyone trusts because they know you will never do wrong thing. If everyone gives you 1 lakh rupees and after 2 months they ask for it, you will give them back. They know this thing. But if you're not trustworthy person, they know that if we give him 1,000 also, he'll not return. So that relationship will not survive if you break the trust. So a person who follows ethics, he will build trust among all the people, all the relationships. That is for sure. People trust this person, that he's a good man. He won't do wrong. They trust this person. Then some credibility will be there. See, there was a controversy of Maggi. So suddenly it was found in some reports that there is some MSG content in the Maggi and there is very high lead content in the Maggi noodles. At that time, what action the company had taken was to take back whatever Maggi packets are available in the market. They took back, they provided all that transportation and all, and they destroyed all that stuff. That was very necessary. That was very necessary. Being ethical sometimes becomes compulsory for you. You can't be unethical directly on the face. If you be unethical, if Maggi would have said at that time, or the company would have said, we'll not do anything, we have to make profit, we can't take this back, then their reputation would have been at stake. Their credibility would have gone down. No person would have trusted them. Then after that, nobody would have bought Maggi. But because of this action, they built that credibility. Now people are buying Maggi, no problem. Now we don't know whether they're still putting MSG or not. But you see that this ethics, if you are playing ethically, if you're doing things ethically, if you've done something wrong, you accept it and you make corrections, you're an ethical person. Then that is acceptable. That builds credibility. And in the long term, you will have a lot of profits. On short term, maybe they have made losses. But in long term, you build a lot of profit. Now, Tata company is very famous for this thing. Tatas are known for one thing, that people trust Tata. That they knew that Ratan Tata is an ethical person, but entire company is very much something people say that it's a very ethical company. We can trust this company. So they will blindly buy whatever Tata has made. So this is how you make long-term profits. Now there's a list of some values a civil servant should have, some principles a civil servant should adhere to, and these are given by Nolan committee. We'll discuss this part later on in the public administration part also, but just for the sake of understanding, I'm keeping it here. Now moving ahead. Now, role of ethics for the society. Initially, I told you that society exists because of ethics. If there won't be any ethics, our society will get destroyed completely. So for the existence and the continuance of society, ethics is needed. Without ethics, society won't continue. That's very important. Now what about politics? Can politics continue without ethics? It can continue, but for a short period. There will be a role of ethics which will be coming into picture. Now, as far as politics is concerned, different ideas come into picture. Normally, we say that politics and ethics cannot go together. Politicians are never ethical is what we consider. That's a Machiavellian perspective. Machiavelli is a thinker. We'll go through Machiavellian ideas when we go through moral philosophers. But we have people like Gandhiji, we have people like Ranade or people like Gokhale. They used to say that a person can be ethical as well as a politician. Rather, politics and ethics go together because their end purpose is the same. What politics wants? They want to bring people together. They want to bring some laws. They want to bring order in the society, and to bring order, this politics is going on, right? Ethics is bringing the same thing. Ethics also has the same idea. So the objective of politics and objective of ethics is the same. So both are supposed to go together. Okay, obviously there will be some manipulation because of which it doesn't seem that both can go together. But ideally, inherently, they are supposed to go together. That's the reason. Even if many politicians, many political parties, even if they might be doing some wrong actions, they will never accept that they are doing wrong actions. They will always say that they are doing right actions, because they can't build this public perception that they are unethical. Ethics is mandatory. Okay. Then, if you are getting some kind of dilemmas, some kind of confusions, sometimes we get dilemmas like you're confused between two things. I should do this or I should do that. I'll discuss ethical dilemmas later. But if you are an ethical person, your conscience will exactly tell you what you should do, because you have clarity. You have very good clarity that this is wrong, you should not do this. This is right, you should do this. In the exam, no cheating means no cheating. It's wrong. So, ethical dilemmas, many people get confused. You will not get confused. You will have clarity. So, if you want clarity in life, you should be ethical first. Then professionally, although I have discussed that trust part already, but if you want a professional success, being ethical is very important. Many people, they've said this thing many a times, that even in organizations, even if you work with private organizations or government organization, anywhere, it's not your talent which is going to help you grow, but your ethics. Whether you are a person of integrity, you're a good person. Good as in, you don't manipulate, you don't cheat. If you cheat, even a big company is going to leave you at the same moment. So, if for your professional success also, this is very important. And lastly, if you want to make a good citizen, ethics is needed. If we have a society of unethical people, this society will get destroyed completely, right? The country cannot survive. We need good citizens. And there is a saying, Plato used to say, we'll study Plato also. Plato used to say, state is individual writ large. Again, very technically written, but what is the simple meaning? That just the citizens, if you look at a citizen, if you look all the citizens, and if you compare it with the state or the entire country, the reflection of citizens is there in the state. If all the citizens are corrupt, if they are not ethical, all are corrupt, for public, corruption is normal, corruption is okay, then the entire system will have corruption. All the politicians will be corrupt, all the bureaucrats will be corrupt. So, first thing is to work on one single citizen. Plato used to say, if you want to reform one single citizen, reform these people. If people are changed, automatically the entire system will change, the state will change. Okay? So, this is the role of ethics. The ethics plays such a good role in our life. Clear? Any doubt till now? Any confusion? No. Okay. Now, in the absence of ethics, what we'll do? We said what is the importance or role of ethics. See, this is very important content. Okay, this seems very easy, but there will be questions on this point. Why do we need ethics? This is the core thing. Otherwise, what's the use of this paper? So, you should have the clarity. This is very easy to understand, but you have to remember all this stuff. Now, in case, let's say there is no ethics in the society, what will happen? Think about it. At the individual level, if you are not an ethical person, let's say you are a person who has lot of knowledge. Even for UPSC, we are selecting people with knowledge or people who are good with IQ, who can manage to study all these subjects. You are a person of knowledge, but you are not ethical. Think about it. Why even UPSC added this subject in your paper or in your mains paper? They want knowledgeable people, but they want people who are ethical. So why? Think about it. If you're not ethical, what will happen? Now, these are some good examples. I suggest you people to write these examples in the answers. Okay, the example of Ravan, example of Shakuni, example of Osama or Hitler. I personally find all these four people are very knowledgeable. Now, their IQ level is very good, or they have studied many things. Shakuni is a very good example rather. If you look at Mahabharata, one is Shakuni, on the other hand we have Lord Krishna. Both seem to be equally talented people. Now, I am looking at it, not being religious about it, looking at it very rationally. Both people to me look very smart, very knowledgeable. They know almost everything, but the method or the route they have chosen is different. Route they have chosen is different because of lack of ethics. When you are not ethical and when you are very knowledgeable, that's a very problematic stuff. You become clever devil. See, if you are not knowledgeable, you can harm the society little bit. You are not ethical, that means you are a criminal. Let's say you are a criminal, you are doing something wrong, you will harm the society. But if you are very knowledgeable and then you are not ethical, you can harm the society so badly that nobody can imagine. Let's say you are a scientist. See, a normal person and a scientist. A normal person, he might go and kill some people at max. A scientist, he can develop one weapon, one nuclear bomb or a bio weapon, a kind of virus, and just spread it in the entire society. Entire world will be destroyed. So, ethics matters. Okay. In the absence of ethics, if there is no ethics, individuals will get into crimes. Okay, crimes, there will be domestic violence, there will be abuse, right? Nobody will care about the dignity of others. They'll abuse very clearly. Such things might happen. You can add so many examples with it. I've just given some. Then for a society, don't look at just individual, look at society. In society, you will find corruption, drug addiction, inequalities. A society where ethics is not prevailing, I said even that society will get destroyed with time. If everyone in the society is drug addicted, what will they do? If everyone is corrupt, nobody is going to trust the other person, then what kind of society is it? So, there are problems. In the organization, any private organization or any kind of organization, there can be nepotism, loss of trust, decrease in efficiency. All these problems will be there. In politics, nowadays there is this phenomena which is very important for us to study, that is criminalization of politics. There was a time when in politics there were people who were very educated, who were very good also, who wanted to do something good, and they have done something really good. We have many examples. Nowadays we see some data wherein the politicians, most of the or 30, 40, 50 or whatever number it is, there are politicians who have such a really good criminal track record. So criminals are getting into the politics. A criminal is a person who is not ethical, who is unethical already. So you can't expect him to do good job, right? And such a person is getting into politics. So that's the best example of absence of ethics. Now you can't expect, when such people are ruling a country, You can't expect good things from these people. If you're expecting, then you are mad. Okay, they'll do what they were doing, obviously. They are very much clear on which direction they have to go. Then internationally, when there is no ethics in the international world, there will be power politics. There will be many disputes. A powerful country will try to crush the smaller country. Such things will happen. Environmental damages will be there. Wars will be there. Refugee crisis will be there. If there is no ethics, suddenly, let's imagine, look at Gaza right now. This is the best example to write in the examination right now. Situation of Gaza. Suddenly, a war started. Suddenly, people living in one part of the world, now they don't have anything to eat. There is a blockade. They're not getting any food. They don't have anything to do. So such problems emerge if the world is not ethical. Now it is the responsibility of entire world to take care of these people, right? So in the absence of ethics, such things happen. You can make such diagram also in answers if you want, that you have professional competence, or if you have knowledge, plus if you are ethical person, you have ethical competence, then it's your holistic competence. See, such diagrams which will add some value in your answers. Just one micro diagram while writing answers, make your presentation better. Clear? Any doubt till now? Okay, values part we'll do tomorrow because it's taking more time than what I expected. So just one last part. Impediments to human action. What I mean by this, see, we want to be ethical. Okay, we assume that now we have decent knowledge of ethics. We want to be ethical. We are good people. But still, I won't do the right thing. When I'm taking my action, I know what is right. I know what is right, but I don't go to this direction. There is some impediment. There is some obstacle in my action. What can be that impediment? Why I will not act ethically? One reason could be my ignorance. I don't have enough knowledge. Let's say there is a person in a village. He didn't know that there is a plant species which is protected by law, and it is supposed to be protected. One should not kill it. And he unknowingly started cutting this particular plant species or this tree. He didn't know. He did not have knowledge. So this is ignorance. We will not completely call it unethical action because this person did not have enough knowledge. That's a problem. So you know that you are a good person and you want to do the right action, but still you are doing wrong action because of ignorance. Second could be overwhelming emotions. The emotions have taken your mind in such a way that you're not able to take the right action. Sometimes we are very angry. In the anger, we do something wrong. We speak something wrong. We say something which hurts people. You are not a bad person. You don't like to hurt people. You know this is the person in front of you. You should not hurt this person. But because you're angry, this emotion is so overwhelming. It has taken your control. And that's the reason you acted in a wrong manner. So overwhelming emotion, that's a problem. Then fear. Fear is a problematic stuff. I gave the example of Salman Khan. That car came and let's say one accident took place, one person died, and you were observing. You did not go to the police station and tell because there was a fear in your mind. Okay, this might happen. Let's say you're working in a company, a private company, and you saw that your boss is doing something wrong or something corrupt practice is going on. But you're not telling anyone because you know as soon as you tell someone, you will lose the job. They'll throw you out. You know this. There is a fear in your mind, and that's why you're not doing the right action. Right? Then sometimes there could be coercion. Forcefully, people are not letting you do the right action. That is also possible. So someone has put gun at the gunpoint. They are telling you to do this thing. Do something wrong. At the gunpoint, they are telling you to do something wrong. So here, it's a forceful act. Okay, it's a forceful act. And last is your habit. Sometimes we are habitual of something. We know what is right, but still we don't do it because we are habitual of, let's say, procrastination, or habitual of anything, right? So we have some people, there are some people who have habit of lying. They have no reason to lie. It's not like they're going to get some benefit out of it. But suddenly if someone asks something, where were you? They'll say something else. They'll lie. Even they don't know why they are lying, because they are just habitual of it. So sometimes these habits also act as some kind of impediment in your actions. Okay. So overall, ignorance, overwhelming emotions, fear, force, and habit. These could create problems. Okay. Any doubt till now, please ask. Although we can continue, but it's been already almost 3 hours. So one topic is remaining, that is values, which we have to discuss in detail, and that will take some time. You tell, if you want to continue, I can, or else we'll do it tomorrow. So yeah, please ask if you have any doubts. We'll wrap it up over here. We'll complete this values part tomorrow, and we'll continue with the next chapter after that. And yeah, I'll also take few questions, previous year questions, so that you get a good idea about how whatever we are learning over here, how you can utilize that content, same content. Anyway, I'm trying to give you as much value addition points as possible. Yeah, any doubts? Chetan, Sakshi, Darshan? No? Okay then. Fine, then we will wrap it up over here. Sir, I've understood, but when it comes to writing in answer, I get confused. That's fine, that's fine. Take some time. It will require some time. Get the clarity, at least for the ethics. I will suggest by the time you complete at least 4 or 5 classes, when you get broader understanding, till that time answer writing will be a bit challenging for you. And in answer writing itself, don't get confused. See, you should be very clear. When I'll talk about the public service ethics and all, when I'll talk about the values of a public servant, a civil servant, you will start thinking like a civil servant. Try to get those values and get it inside you. Think the same manner in which those values are expected in a civil servant. Now, while writing answers, ensure that you are adhering to these values. So, if in the question they're asking anything complex, think like a civil servant. Simple. Those values which I had shown over here, maybe. Yeah, these. I'll discuss these parts in detail later on. But you'll understand that for a civil servant, most important thing is this integrity. Out of all these things, these are all important, but this is the first priority. So while writing answers, keep this in mind. Then you will get the route. You will not get confused. Okay? Yes. Anything else? Okay. Any doubt, Darshan, Chetan? No? Okay. Fine then, we'll wrap it up for today. We'll meet tomorrow. We'll continue with this, and we'll continue with the next chapter also. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. Enjoy the ethics lectures. Tada, bye-bye.